Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, Tech with KG. I'm here with Classy Tech and Stop the FOMO. Today we're going to talk about a few of the stuff that's going on in the AV community, I guess. We got to set the record straight on a few things because I do feel like a lot of YouTubers might have gotten thrown under the bus for no reason just because they love a TV.
Hang on. The FOMO, I think you got it playing in the back.
Oh, is that
Huh?
better? Is it off? Is it
What's
off?
going on? I don't hear nothing.
What's going on?
I'm confused. But anyway, I think a lot of YouTubers that did a positive review on the S95B are now getting targeted, thrown under the bus by commenters, and like I don't know if that was something that's just part of the backlash. But we're gonna set the record straight on a few things regarding that video, and then also I will do a S95B versus QN90B test, pretty much all night long until I get tired. But for now, we're gonna address the talk, and I think Classy really wants to address this. So what's going on?
Yeah. So first, again, I'm still sick, so apologies for my voice. Um, yeah, the stream the other night took my voice, but yeah. So a few days ago or whatever, after I streamed and stuff with the S95B, he made a post on AVS. So pretty much everything that he did in the video was already known on AVS. People who aren't on AVS haven't seen it, but I tried to start a dialogue with him because I basically showed ABC and then he shows up with 456. Like he took a lot of stuff out of context from the stream and other things. Like the what he showed is not wrong. What I showed is not wrong. There's a discrepancy in what his tests are showing and my tests are showing. Normally when that happens, like if it was me and Sammy or Matt or D Nice or anybody else, we would talk to each other, say, okay, what settings did you use when you ran the measurements? What equipment are you using? What are the possible variables? Why is this happening? Not just,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is what I see, so everything else must be wrong. Um, and for everybody that's watching that has seen my, I don't even know, how many hours are we at now streaming? 20, 30 hours
Yeah.
plus videos and whatnot. At any point, did I ever say the S95B is accurate, either out of the box or after making adjustments?
Nope.
No, I've never said it's accurate. And then this is another thing with Vincent is he is 100% by the book for accuracy, and that's fine. I got no problem with that. I respect Vincent. He's incredibly intelligent, knows what he's doing, but he doesn't separate that from anything else. I am a calibrator, and when I go into a client's home and I'm calibrating their TV, I have that same hat. I'm doing their TV the way that a calibrator does it. Like it's going to be accurate or as accurate as that TV can get. When I do YouTube, I know 99% of the people watching don't care about accuracy. They don't care about calibration. They just want to know if it looks good, right? So I have to switch those hats from time to time. I show content calibrated, I show it out of the box, I show it in the accurate picture modes, and I try to always say this is what the settings are, this is what mode it's in, this is how it's being demonstrated. And again, at no point ever did I say the S95B was accurate. And the other issue is he's specifically focusing on low nit content, which the WRGB OLEDs can do. And I've said in SDR or lower graded HDR content, there's basically no difference. They're pretty much the same. The only advantage that I would give is the panel is so clean. I mean, if you're watching something in SDR and you're watching it on a Evo panel or a WBE panel and it's got pink tint, I mean, that's going to affect what you're seeing, right? So that's the only case where the QD OLED's better. But it's in 2000 nit higher graded content, 4000 nit content, or anything that's really pushing the outer edges of P3 with bright colors where WRGB just doesn't have the technology to do that. And QD OLED, not perfect, not accurately, but at least it's showing something. And that's what I've been trying to show. And so, like, when it comes to him showing The Dark Knight. That's a lower nit content. That's, I was using that demonstration to see if, with the adjustments that were made to the S95B, how close the EOTF would match in content, meaning were the midtones lifted, were the shadows crushing or lifted, how did it compare? Not at one point ever saying that it was accurate. I said it got close. It looked pretty close. It still wasn't perfect, but it was pretty close. And so, like, comments made about yellow, like, I'm sitting there on a live stream after how many hours, and I'm just trying to say, okay, yeah, there's a difference here. There's a difference in color. I don't say that it's accurate or that it's right, but I'm just pointing out the differences. And so, I don't understand how he could have been watching and seeing that and got a conclusion of me trying to say that it was accurate. And then the other issue I have, if he's there watching and he's got concerns or questions, why not leave a comment and say, did I hear you say this correctly? Or are you trying to say this is that, or anything? Like, leave a comment, talk to us. He doesn't do that. Even on AVS, he gave one reply, and then I went and did testing for like 5 hours on my day off to reply to his reply. And instead of coming back and continuing a conversation, decided to put out this video, and that's it. So he just has, for whatever reason, I don't know, but he doesn't want to, talk to anyone about stuff. He doesn't want to have that dialogue or communication. It's just whatever he says has to be right. And if anything even remotely goes against what he's saying, then I don't know. He feels threatened. He feels that he has to do something about it. I don't know. But again, I never said the TV was accurate. If I throw in The Crimes of Grindelwald, that's a fairly high HDR grade. And yeah, that fire is probably the wrong color of fire, but there's a lot of areas where you see color that you don't see it on the WRGB OLED. That's the stuff that I was pointing out. That's what I'm talking about when I say there's more color. It's where it's completely faded and gone and it's white on WRGB OLED, and that there is still color on the Samsung.
Right.
And then as far as with calibration, so I gave out setting of saying turn ST2084 down 3 clicks and bump your shadow detail 2. That is a recommendation, just a general recommendation to people who have the TV to get it into a better state than without, if your panel happens to be similar to mine. And I always stress that there is huge panel variances. What works on one may not work on another. But when it comes to basic settings like that, they usually translate okay. And he even showed that it made an improvement. It still wasn't perfect. I never said it was perfect. And then what he doesn't know is I did additional stuff to the panel beyond those 2 settings to try and make it more accurate. And that's what I followed up with when I did my full calibration yesterday. And I put on AVS my charts at 9, 10, and 11% windows, because my 10% is not differing from 9 and 11% windows. So I did all 3 out of the box. I did all 3 with adjustments. I did P3 color sweeps, everything. But there's no mention of that.
Yeah. I don't think he watched. I think somebody just relayed him the information.
Yep, no doubt.
And the fact that you say, like, what you said on the LG OLED when you're looking at the fire, if it's not being able to display the fire properly, that makes it inaccurate too, which I don't hear enough people talk about. So
yeah, there's so many aspects to a picture quality as far as accuracy. It's not just looking at a chart.
Mhm.
It's not seeing the line follow EOTF and the colors hit their XY coordinates on the chart. There's more to accuracy than that. And that's what I was trying to make very, very clear in the live streams and stuff, is that it's not accurate. It's not hitting those XY coordinates. It's not doing that. But when it comes to higher graded content, when the older technology fades to white, that's not accurate. When it can't reach 1,000 nits, that's not accurate. There are
Mhm.
things that the QD-OLED technology does that is what I was expressing my excitement for. And how many times have I said, I am waiting for the A95K. I am most likely going to keep the A95K. That's going to be the real test for QD-OLED because it can get more accurate. How many times have I said Samsung's going to do Samsung? Like they have their look, they have their thing that everyone knows. Everyone knows that Samsung's not going to be that great as far as accuracy comes. And I will actually give Samsung some credit because if you compare the QN90B and the S95B to even last year, the year before, they've made improvements. It's better, and it's still not to the level of LG or Sony, but it's better at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know FOMO's got some tests and stuff going on too, and uh, see, here's the other thing is I don't know why KG was dragged into this at all. He does not care about accuracy. He's never once said he cares about accuracy. I mean, he's kind of like on that border. He doesn't want crazy vivid,
Yeah.
but he never would tell anyone that something's more accurate than another. He just says by his eye, he likes the way this looks, and there's nothing wrong with that. 99% of the people are in that camp, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone here was watching, saw the stream on Rich from Review Tech, his RTU stream that I did with Matt to go on about Captain Tickles. You know, I was defending Vincent. I respect Vincent. I like Vincent. I know he's knowledgeable, and I watch just about every one of his videos. Never a problem. So, you know, the only issue I have with the video is that he didn't try to have any dialogue. He didn't show any of that mutual respect that we all show him.
Yeah. Facts. I've said nothing but good things about Vincent. And somehow I got dragged under the bus, and I got so many comments on my videos today saying I'm a fraud calibrator, saying that I don't know anything about TV accuracy, and I never claimed to be. Like, I never claimed any of this stuff. And you guys know, you guys watch me all the time. Everybody in chat, I'm sure you guys know that I prefer picture pop. Like, I don't ever talk about TV accuracy.
I know, it's just completely unfair that you now have that going on when you've never cared about accuracy. Max is a new channel just starting to grow, and now he's dealing with these same troll comments from that have seen that video and now going after him. Everyone who has made S95B videos are now going to have to deal with this just because one person that, I mean, his community treats him like a deity, right? And that is not a good thing. Like 5 years from now, if we're even remotely close to that size, we would not want to be that way. We do not want to be in an ivory tower looking down on our viewers, right? So you did not want to release your video because you were concerned about how your viewers and your community would feel.
Yeah.
Whereas Vincent has no care for how anyone's going to feel about what he's saying or showing, right? And
Right.
that's kind of wrong.
It's kind of gatekeeping. That's what it is.
So I don't know if it's, you know, he is seeing how popular the S95B is getting and this back and forth basically war on the forums and stuff right now between WRGB and QD-OLED, and he just wanted to make a video to capitalize for lots of views, whatever. Because again, the raw information about the TV is not wrong, and it's what other people have said too, you know, me included. It's what he said about me, what he said about you, and trying to take things out of context. That's the part that's wrong.
Yeah. You got anything to say,
Yep.
Velma, on this?
What? Okay, so this is so ironic because I believe Vincent, he's very consistent. He wants accuracy. However, everyone needs to remember that when he says accuracy, he is saying when calibrated, the LG or the Sony could be made to be more accurate after calibration. Now, given that 90%, more than 90% of all TV consumers take it out of the box out of the box, the LG OLED is not more accurate. It requires calibration to get there. Out of the box, you know what's more accurate? The S95B. So at 600 nits, right? We're using the Spears and Munsell. My A90J, 600 nits, all tone mapping off because it could tone map or it can properly render 600 nits without any special tone mapping. So the A90J represents a calibrated reference. The S95B tracks the A90J at 600 nits better than the G2. Now the G2 is very close, but you know what the G2 does? It pumps up the white pixel or the white, anything that's white, extra 30 nits, extra 40 nits consistently. Clouds on the S95B, identical to the Sony. On the G2, it's like, wait, why are these the whites of the clouds a little bit brighter? Scene after scene, like that one right there. You see the white on the G2, where the horizon is white, the G2 will push that a little bit brighter than both the S95B and the Sony A90J. And all three, well, filmmaker mode on the G2 and filmmaker mode on the S95B. Sony doesn't have filmmaker mode. It just has its, and that one as well. That's another scene where the propeller on the G2 brighter. Now this is out of the box, right? If you go in and you calibrate it, yes, you could bring that brightness back down. It does not follow the EOTF curve out of the box though. However, the S95B tracks it closer than the LG G2. But if you calibrate the S95B, I guess it cannot get as close as the G2. So here you have 90% of the population who don't calibrate, they go to filmmaker. Guess what? The filmmaker on the S95B will be more accurate than filmmaker on the G2 out of the box. And as you get brighter and brighter, the S95B will stay more accurate because the G2 now cannot even represent the colors. It just can't. Above 400 nits, the G2 will begin to lose color. Its white will be very white. I say all day long. The G2's bright white is as bright as the S95B, and in some instances, even brighter. So in scenes where you have like a white light, the G2 will be brighter because it has the heat sink, it's pushing it hard, but the S95B pushes colors brighter. That one right there. The yellow beak on the S95B that KG has up, when it asks for 1,000 nits, that beak will get brighter and gets closer to 1,000 nits than the G2 can. Fact, you cannot calibrate into a brightness that it cannot do, right? It just gets more white. So if you do the Spears and Munsell on the G2 at 10,000 nits, there's a lot of white artifacts. On the S95B, it's a gradient yellow that's very bright. Right there, you cannot calibrate that to a gradient yellow. It just can't. It isn't possible, right? That's seen as well. As you get 2,000, 4,000 nits, the G2 cannot do it. So now accuracy's out. And on the Sony, if you turn on tone mapping, either gradation preferred or brightness preferred, no more, there's no more accuracy. Out the window. Most people have gradation on. So what was the point? Well, if you leave it off, it's accurate, but it's only accurate up to 600 nits. Over 600 nits, do you know what the Sony does? The A90J starts to clip everything. Everything is way too bright. There's no detail at all. No TV is perfect. I love the S95B because out of the box, no calibration. I think it nails it closer to the Sony at more brightness levels than the G2. But if you are to get it calibrated, okay, then maybe the G2 is a consideration for better accuracy. So I think that with that context, Vincent isn't wrong, but he's leaving out all those situations where the G2 is simply not as good as the S95B. You can't handpick one accuracy argument when there's such a spectrum of accuracy arguments, right? So he's not wrong, but come on, let's tell the whole story. Let's really go accurate out of the box. That's why D-Nice, when we have him on, before calibration, how is it? After calibration, how is it? Now, panel variances, some may be a bit more accurate than others, but Classy and I, we've spoken to a lot of you early S95B owners. It appears to be rock solid out of the box, very consistent, and I'm so impressed. And that's all on Samsung and the S95B. And the G2 is also consistently pushing that white. That's why you have to calibrate it to bring the white back down. Okay, that's my rant.
Yeah, and then that's why, like, if you were to go to the 2000 nit version of the Spears and Munzel demo, there is so much more detail retained from the superior tone mapping on the S95B than the LG. Like, it's that detail is part of the accuracy picture.
I actually
And
have
then
the 2000 nit playing right now.
yeah, and another thing that I'm going to share real quick here. We've all heard the Dolby Vision 4K 120 hertz on LG is basically the holy trinity, right? And if your TV is calibrated, and it's calibrated by someone who knows how to do Dolby Vision, which, let's face it, there's a lot of calibrators who don't. But if it is, then you can get an accurate image. Someone tell me if this is wrong, but I have not heard him at any point ever say or point out that the LG's Dolby Vision game mode is far, far from accurate. This is Dolby Vision game mode on an LG. Do you see how much the EOTF is pushed?
Yeah.
Do you see how high the color errors are? Is this representative of what you're trying to say people should use in gaming just because Microsoft Flight Simulator showed a touch more detail in the sun? Like, is that fair?
That's wild. That's way off.
Yeah, so I mean, it's choosing when to pick on something. I guess I don't know. I don't know the reasoning for it, but I have never seen anything be brought up about that. Matt and I have talked about that being one of the TV side issues of Dolby Vision gaming. That LG is the only one who does that, but do you want to use that, or do you want to use HDR10 with HGIG, which tracks EOTF and has better color accuracy? Again, if you're one of the few people that get your TV calibrated, then maybe there's a reason to talk about that. But so far, we're not really seeing Dolby Vision gaming provide anything good.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Halo Infinite, which is, as far as I know, like the only game that really supported it supposedly, but it's not doing anything with it.
Yeah, let me highlight some of these super chats really quickly, and then first I want to say hi to Max. I see you.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I was a little bit late, everyone.
It's all good, man. It's all good. All right, let me hit these super chats, and then we'll get back to our discussion. Chris Benson, thank you for the super chat. He says, this is an advantage you guys have over Vincent. Collaboration, discussion adds value and nuance. Yeah, I mean, like, being able to talk to each other and see what's going on with our problems before airing it out into public is, a good thing. So,
wait, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah, go for it.
This is perfect. Like, no, again, full respect to Vincent. If he wants to ever come on and talk or send us messages or whatever, he is fully welcome to. I don't want any drama. I don't want any problems. Like, we can talk things out, work things out. I am fully open to that. And no slight to you, Vincent, but I don't see you doing that just because no one's ever really seen you trying to work with anybody or really whatever. If you want to do the lone wolf thing, okay, that's what you want to do. But just know that you always have an open invitation to talk to any of us.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I've said that before.
Well, just wanted to add, because I know I'm a little bit late. So it's really hard for us to put everything in a 10-minute video. Yeah. And I think Classy did such a great job to at least have a open forum with the stream to talk and engage with potential buyers or people who may be interested in the technology, just to show what the settings are. And so that's one thing that when you had that collaboration with everyone, even the ABS forums, you'll get an idea if it's something that you see and maybe incorrect, or is this what I'm really seeing? Do you run into issues, or is it something that I'm not seeing that you're seeing? Those are the things that I think is like really powerful for what we have right now. And it's just going back to Vincent. It's just like when you have I think it was like a 7 or 8 minute video, he didn't go through everything that we saw. And I think some of the stuff was out of context too.
Yeah, let me say this, like, it all started with a nasty tweet. Like that was kind of uncalled for out of nowhere. Like you could have just contacted Classy on AVS forums. You know he's on AVS forums.
Yeah, and again, I kind of encompass everything under one umbrella for my business, but I really have two. I have a day job, that I'm at 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, but I'm starting my own business, my own brand. Half of that is doing calibrations for people in their homes, having clients. That is completely separate from YouTube. The only thing with my YouTube is that I can provide information from calibration to YouTube for those specific videos and scenarios. But I mean, I'm about to just grab Classy Bear's hat, and if I have this on, then I'm just showing you a TV to have fun. If it's off, then maybe I'm talking calibration, whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying I can switch that back and forth. I'm not just going to focus only on calibration when 99% of the people watching don't care.
Yeah, Buddy Love, thank you for the super chat. He says 60% of TV buyers won't have a clue what Vince said, won't calibrate, and love the high contrast color. This is a Samsung wheelhouse. So 99% of TV buyers, not 60%. I think it's way higher than that. Like,
Yeah.
The people who calibrate and care about accuracy, I think that's like a 1% type thing. And Classy, you could even say that's probably true, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I go by the amount of people who contact me, for calibration, who watch my channel, versus even like a tenth of my viewers, it's probably like around 1-2%. Like, it's such a small number, but
Yeah.
there's still a lot of those people out there, and so I do want to provide information for them as well. That's why I try to do both. And I just don't think it's right that because of what he said, now people like Max and others, new channels, they're going to have to deal with the troll comments that are going to come from it, from people who don't understand. I mean, all these people who are all of a sudden caring about accuracy when they're probably sitting at their TV in vivid mode anyway.
Let me address this comment because it's kind of not cool. Joseph says, "What stand does Max have in this stream?" He got attacked too. Like he's getting attacked too. He's part of this backlash. You don't understand it, but when Vincent made this video,
is he actually talking about his TV stand? Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe like before you get upset.
No, because he said Max too. Like Max, that's his name. He's got it in.
I know. I think he might be asking, what stand does Max have?
Oh, okay.
I appreciate it, KG.
I go to war for my dogs, man. Come on.
I appreciate it though. It's the BDI TV stand.
My bad.
It's okay.
Yeah, he said he's talking about his actual stand.
It's okay, KG. You can see just like I said, I appreciate KG for doing that. But yeah, it's a BDI TV stand. If you ever curious, I have it up on the channel how to install it, how to put together and stuff. And if anyone is curious,
and at the end of the day, like if I have a client call me or email me and say they have an S95B, can I calibrate it? Am I going to say no because it can't reach perfect accuracy? No, I'm going to go do what I can to it to make it better. If someone orders it from Value Electronics and wants D-Nice to calibrate it, do you think he's going to say no because it can't reach perfection?
And just to kind of add to it, and when I was watching the video, I had to choose my words very carefully. It's just like how the way I felt from the video is that his reasoning compared to everyone else's who said that the TV is good is wrong, and that's how the way I felt after looking at that video, and that's why I think I messaged you, Classy, and KG. I was like, did I hear this right, or do you feel the same way after the video? He came at it at a neutral tone, but as he was getting towards the video, that's where I felt that little bit of negativity when it came to that. And I was like,
He could have made the exact same video with the same point without showing anything from anyone else. He could have done the same test, the same scenes, given the same information, but he chose to do it in a way to stir up drama, get views, whatever. Like, again, I tried to communicate with him on AVS Forum. I was very civil about it all, and he chose to just take what I provided and use that for ammo for his video instead of continuing a conversation. KG, you're backed up quite a bit on super chats, and then
All
I
right,
know
let me hit
FOMO
them.
doesn't have much time.
Yeah,
so
I
FOMO,
was
yeah,
just looking at that
more.
too.
Let me hit them then. They came out of nowhere. I was just looking.
I mean, there
Three,
was some
right?
at the beginning you've missed. There's a whole bunch. Like, you got to scroll way up.
I
even
I
saw
gotta
Matt
hit
gave
it.
you
I hit them, didn't I? Oh no, so Matt, yeah, okay. My bad. Was there anyone past Buddy or before Buddy or anybody before Buddy? Because we hit Buddy already.
Did you get Chris Benson? He put his comment under, like, separately from the super chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
you
the
did do
first
that
one I hit. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Just from
we're
Matt
at
down.
Matt then. All right.
Yep.
Matt says I'm jumping rope. Sorry for skipping this one. No problem. No problem. Thank you for the super chat, Matt. And then Stealth Dragon, thank you for the super chat. He says I own a Q9FN 75. It's still amazing. I also own a QN90A 75. It's exceptional. I'm getting the S95B 65 installed this Thursday, but I am concerned with burn-in. I stand by this. I really wouldn't be too concerned with burn-in these days unless you're of the extreme use case scenario. When you say so, or
I have very little concern for burn-in. I mean, if I'm running patch after patch after patch, I can see a little bit of image retention, but it fades so fast that I have not seen it in content. I don't foresee there being much problem with it. However, after you finish all this stuff, remind me, I did find one little thing that might be a concern, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay. Yeah, we'll cover that some more
Nothing
than
to do
a
with
little
burn-in,
bit.
but
Jay Cruz, real quick, he says, let's keep it real. Some people say they want the color and brightness of an LED and the blacks of an OLED, and now they are complaining. Come on. Yeah, I mean, most people won't care about it. Yeah, I think so, Jay Cruz. You're still going to love this TV. I think same people are still going to love this TV. Thank you for the super chat. And then that guy, thank you for the super chat. He says, I've been here for every live stream. Y'all displayed a very clear message on what to expect from the TV. Unfortunately, Vincent didn't understand that. Yeah, thanks, that guy. We appreciate the support. That's big time support. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and then FOMO, did you have something you wanted to demonstrate or talk about, or something that you're gonna demonstrate?
Oh yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm still editing. I'm running
Yeah.
the entire luminance spectrum, and it's taking 3 hours to run the darn filter. But
Oh, wow.
anyway, I recorded the three TVs, the A90J, the G2, and the S95B at 600 nits, right? And all three TVs can do it without tone mapping because 600 nits is within their wheelhouse. And that demonstrates how the G2 is pushing the whites anytime there's the waves or whatever, but that's not the critical factor. Most people want to watch HDR above 600 nits. No one, how many people complain, oh my gosh, this is fake HDR, it's less than 600 nits. So on the one hand, people love that it's super accurate under 600 nits, but no one watches HDR under 600. Now, when you go above 1,000 nits, 1,500, 2,000, this is what Class and I were talking about. In Mad Max, the APL, you have so many scenes where the APL, average picture level, is so bright. Then you have color and other scenes on top of that that's brighter. WOLED physically, technologically cannot render that scene. Forget color accuracy. It can't even render the scene. I mean, it's just too dim. And there is no color. It's just monochromatic. It's all in Rec 709, but the brightness is just completely off on the G2. No one's talking about that. We're all limiting our discussion to 500 nits. We get these HDR TVs, these OLEDs, to be wowed. If you want to be wowed, then the compromise to be made is the G2 will not wow you as well as the S95B, because the S95B has a bit more color. Will that wow you? Is it a little bit inaccurate? Well, the G2 is also inaccurate. It's missing the luminance. So which is more important to you, right? Getting the luminance too low, but the color is right, or get the luminance right, but the color is a little off. I take that all day long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and-
for real.
And at the shootout, we had the BVM HX310. Like, that is the go-to current grading, like, reference monitor, right? What happened in like the 8K shootout with the Sony? We had to turn off the Sony because it was brighter than, like, the monitor only goes to 1,000 nits. So, I mean, aside from the Sony having its, HDMI 8K issues, whatever, but still, we could not give it. We had to turn off the reference monitor with the 4,000 nit content, and then judge without the reference monitor because it can't display the 4,000 nits.
Nope.
It was like, so as we are moving into the future, which QD-OLED is bringing us that first chip to, if this becomes super popular and starts filling into homes, and then studios are looking like, okay, well, let's move to this for our reference now. We're going to start seeing more of BT 2020. We're going to start seeing higher grades of HDR. So that's why, like, when it comes to the YouTube demos, they're beautiful to look at, but they're not representative of movies, really, right?
Right.
But they at least show high APL differences in TVs. They show what could potentially come down the road. That's why I was measuring, the peak luminance in the native gamuts of both TVs just to see what the panels are capable of. That's why I'm looking at the tone mapping capability of every color and secondary color. Like, there is so much technology improvement in this that we can't see in most of the content we have now. But this is the first domino to fall so that the content can move into the future. We need to. It's important to still look at the past. It's important to make sure your SDR is right and that's still there. But you need to show the other side. And, the reference monitor right now can't show you what a 2,000 nit grade of a movie is supposed to look like.
Right.
But when you compare this to the LG, well, guess what? When you see the detail is just gone on the LG, but it's there on the Samsung, I would bet anything that that's more accurate in that case.
Yeah,
And,
dude.
and
Like
the LG
go
dims
ahead.
it down to keep the colors. So that's what people forget. Tone mapping means it should be 2,000 nits. It's going to pull it down to 800 nits. That's why it limits the brightness to 800. Technically, like the Sony in vivid mode, 1,300 nits, but it's all white. It's either black or white at 1,300 nits, right? Well, the G2 could do the same thing, but it wants some color. If you want colors, it pulls it down to 800. Is that accurate? Because the Samsung could go higher. Well, actually, it pulls it a lot lower than 800, but except for the whites, right? And it's a matter of taste. There is no right answer, but the WOLED is limited by technology. It's doing what it can, and I think we've hit the limits of that technology. It's pointless to argue that technology is somehow still relevant in a world where BT 2020, when you get farther into that and you get brighter, WOLED was not designed with that in mind. Remember, the first release of WOLED was what? 2014, 2015? There was no HDR content back then. It was designed specifically for SDR. And then as HDR became a thing, they started pushing it, but it was not designed from the ground up to render HDR well. I mean, it did a pretty good job up to a certain number of nits. Right. Now we're in the next generation of content that will be bright, that will have BT 2020. The WOLED is, what are those? The carburetors, right? Carburetors still work, but fuel injection. Carburetors still work. Cars run fine on carburetors, but that's where we're at with WOLED. It's like a carburetor. It could still run fine. It could still be great. But as you push, that carburetor is going to start to fall apart. Its timing is not going to be perfect, not like a fuel injection. And now we're beyond the fuel injection, right, with electric vehicles. But that's just something to think about. We're at the best of what the WOLED can be, and it's not going to go much farther than that. So, can't stop progress.
Yeah, and like Matt's saying, that the reference monitor doesn't have tone mapping beyond 1,000 nits. So that's what I'm saying. D-Nice has been saying too, when it comes to HDR, there is no accurate. It's good or better. Like, which one gets closer, which one, You can't make it perfect. We're it's just too far behind in the technology for what HDR can do.
You have a couple of super chats.
Yeah, let me hit these super chats. Travis Sylvania, thank you for the super chat. He says, so we know who is number one for color volume, S95B, A95K, QD-OLED. Now the question is, who's number two for color volume, QLED or WOLED? It's QLED for sure. It's not close.
Wait, no, it's not just QLED, KG. It's the Vizio.
Oh, yeah, the Vizio is pumping.
If you really want an
Yeah.
older Vizio, that set a record on ratings that no TV has yet to match.
For sure.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, that TV is definitely pumping with the color volume. And then Jay Cruz says, with a huge super chat, thank you. He says, you guys are killing it. Keep up the good work. Love the points, FOMO. Awesome, man. Thank you for the huge support there. And then I wanted to hit Ninja Shin again and say thank you. First, Jay Frank. He says, all of you have been the best. Please continue to do your work and provide this amazing avenue for us all, which never existed before. Honestly, thank you, man, because this is something that I've kind of wished existed for a while, was a nice little sounding board for community members, not just forums. Like a community within a community is, and that's kind of what I was hoping to create, and that's what FOMO was creating. You know, when I started on here, I saw him doing it, and I was inspired by him, and I think we all just inspire each other to be better, and we all become better people also, because being around each other is a good thing, because we're all positive people. I think for the most part, you never really hear too much negativity from us, or never hear us throw anybody really under the bus. So yeah, Jay Frank, thanks, man. And Ninjishin, just thank you for the super chat. We already touched on your comment, but yeah, thanks. And then Gaming Tech, he says, keep what you are doing. Vincent's video was a bit misleading in my opinion. Just showing SDR color brightness will not show the advantage of QD-OLED. Thank you, Gaming Tech, for the super chat. And then there was one more. No, that's it. Okay, cool. Thank you. And then I wanted to speak on that, where you were talking about the color volume, and we are seeing it in content, real content, all the time now, and we've showed it on stream so many times, and so that's why we're excited. We're excited about the technology. Like, I just watched a 50-minute video on a QD display seminar where they're talking about the benefits, and I'm like, wow, I really understand why this TV is so good, and what, we've been missing something like this for a while. It's a great evolution in technology, and that's why it should be celebrated.
You know, I was thinking too, it's something no one ever tests or think about is black and white movies, and they're starting to come out on UHDs now. And a few months ago, I started getting quite a few comments about how does this do with black and white movies, and the problem with WRGB has been pink tint, cyan tint, DSC, whatever. You know, if you're watching this black and white movie, does it look cyan, pink, white, pink, cyan, whatever? You know, even though that sounds like not a lot of people probably watch them, but there's people out there who enjoy black and white movies and in HDR. And this very clean panel that can get a lot brighter with white on a full image like that is going to be more accurate with that kind of content. I mean, hockey's going to look better for people who watch hockey.
I missed a super chat here. Did I? Wait.
Yeah, you missed that.
Yeah, I missed that. My bad, Bat Tech. He said the VT community at Vincent Teo, I guess, community is just as toxic as that other one. I mean, it is who it is. Like, when you have people that are providing an echo chamber, that's what you're going to get sometimes. You're going to get a lot of negative people. And when you have a following that big, you're always going to get negative people. So I'm not saying Vincent is a negative person or toxic, but you're always going to get people like that. So what he did today was definitely unprofessional and not cool, but I'm not going to reflect that on who he is as a person and tell you that the people that are attacking us are because of him. He didn't tell people to go attack us, but as a result of his video, we definitely are getting attacked, and Max is too. That's why I was ready to go to war for Max earlier.
And I appreciate it, KG.
Yeah, so thank you, Battech.
No, it's perfectly fine. No, I appreciate that.
Cool.
And then also too, I just want to kind of like add on this too. When you have other creators who are making similar videos about the TV, sometimes you have to make a form opinion about if what they're saying is correct or if it's wrong. Don't just go off of just one review. It's just like before, kind of like YouTube, people used to have magazines and look at articles and news, try to figure out like, should I pick up this TV, this computer, or whatever the case may be. When you start forming your own opinion, then that's where you got to say to yourself, maybe this might be a good TV or not. And so those are kind of like the things that I just want other people to gravitate towards. I mean, like I said this before, if my opinion may be different towards others, but try out the TV, take it home. If you think otherwise, just return the TV. And just don't go off of what people are showing on YouTube, because there's so many different variables, just like what KG is showing right now. You have the type of camera, you got to think about the YouTube compression, you got to think about how the way he's filming it. And like I said, there's so many other different things to try to capture this that you don't see the true depiction of the TV until you have it in your house, taking a look at it. Because my view may be different than your view. Like I said, I'm in the basement. It could be different from you have a all windows view compared to someone who has a home theater set up. So you got to take those into account too.
Yeah.
So
Balance and all that.
Hard 8 Gaming, I saw his comment here earlier, but on Twitter he replied and tagged me in this that, you know, the S95B inaccuracies doesn't mean anything when he's being told, and then shares Vincent's video that was titled "Fact: Your OLED TV is not bright enough for HDR. Here's why."
Right.
Anybody remember
That's
that video?
a little, yeah, that is kind of like what is that, hypocritical, I guess. Yeah.
Hey KG, I'm gonna drop off real quick, but hey, have a good stream,
problem, man.
guys. Thanks
Thank you for
having me
joining.
on.
All right, FOMO. Hope you have a good one.
Right?
Take care.
I think we're gonna have ongoing response videos all year, which I think is fun. I have no problem with it, by the way. I've said it on chat. I'm glad Vincent posted the video because we need to have an open discussion about, well, what is accuracy exactly? Like, people don't realize when you say accuracy, is it 100 nits, 200 nits, 300 nits? I mean, 1,000 nits? Let's talk out of the box accuracy, or does it require a calibrator? Now that you've completely opened it up, people could really understand what accuracy is. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Thank you, FOMO.
And FOMO said we're going to try and have like Joel Silver on and Stacey Spears and you know, just a whole bunch of people that definitely be opening this conversation up.
Yeah, you need to open this conversation up because just like I said, you just can't have just one review. One person can't just be all when it comes to what TVs to get. Everybody has their own opinion.
Before I leave, I forgot to rant about Dolby Vision. And I know Classy and I talk about this all the time. Okay, guys. Dolby Vision, done by LG, done by Sony, don't even match each other. So if you're all like, wait, I want Dolby Vision, do you want Sony Dolby Vision or you want LG Dolby Vision? Because Sony Dolby Vision Dark is way too dark. No one's going to watch it. And Dolby Vision Bright is way too bright. And then LG's Cinema Dolby Vision, right? It's probably right. But then I ran it head to head against the Samsung in HDR10, and it literally looked the same. It's like, wait a minute. What's the point of Dolby Vision when, and as it gets brighter, you know what Dolby Vision does? It pulls the brightness down. At 10,000 nit Dolby Vision on the Spears and Munsell, LG renders it perfectly at a lower nit. Wait, I thought it was supposed to make it brighter. No, it pushes the TV to the limit, but the minute the TV knows it hits its limit, it's going to stop. Whereas in HDR10, the TV will keep on going until it almost clips. And that is the limitation of the processor, and the S95B is pushing it harder. Again, Dolby Vision, hey, don't complain if you watch Dolby Vision and it's a little bit dimmer, because that's what Dolby Vision does. It pulls it down to what the TV can do, so you get all your colors. And you go, wait a minute, I got all the colors and all the shades, but it looks kind of dimmer than my HDR10 version. And this is what Class are saying. Dolby Vision could be good, and it depends on the creator, but it's not the be all end all because it's not about brightness. It's about keeping your TV within its limits. Is that what you guys want? Because I thought you guys wanted brighter. What is this, 12-bit and 10,000 nits? No, you're not getting
They just
that.
want to check off a list.
Yeah, you're not getting that with today's Dolby Vision. You're getting maybe 800 nits, but all the colors are rendered. Dolby Vision is focusing on getting the colors fitting in to the TV's space, not pushing the TV to its maximum. HDR10 is limited by the TV's processor. Like the Sony XR chip, you put on HDR10, you run it through gradation preferred or brightness preferred, it will be brighter than Dolby Vision. And that's why Sony just doesn't care about Dolby Vision. They have it, but whatever. So that's why we're not, it doesn't matter if the TV is good and it's bright and it has the right processor. Dolby Vision, I think, is irrelevant. But a lot of people are so bought into this whole Dolby Vision licensing and check mark. The Sony and the LG Dolby Visions are completely different. Which one is
And then the content can be version 2.9 or 4.0.
Yeah. We haven't even
2.0 is backwards compatible, so even if it is 4.0, it could just be 2.9 put in the 4.0 version with no advantage that 4.0 brings. It is such a mess that's why I say let's give it 5 years and then see how it looks.
Did you see the Villain Man video that he just did with the G1
I did.
versus
I was
the
talking to FOMO
C2,
about
and
it,
the Dolby Vision was so bad looking on the C2.
Yes.
So inconsistencies too.
Yeah, and it's fine. We just have to be like. Oftentimes, it sounds like we're inconsistent because what we know tomorrow is different than what we know today.
Yes.
And we forgot to say, oh, this is a correction. Like I used to love Dolby Vision because watching specific content, but then as I watch more and more Dolby Vision content, I didn't realize it's the creator that determines Dolby Vision more than the Dolby Vision itself. If the creator does a good job with HDR10, you don't really need Dolby Vision. So, all right, now I'm off.
All right, later, FOMO. Thanks for
Have a
joining.
good one,
All right.
FOMO.
Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
night.
Bye.
Quick
Bye.
question, KG. Can you highlight gaming tech about how about the accuracy with LG on the 9% pattern?
All right, let me find that. Let me get the super chats first here. Buddy Love, he says, have you fellas seen the upcoming OLED reference monitors and the 2022 5000 nit mastering monitors? I have not.
I saw, I think it was Flanders Scientific showed off a 5000 nit monitor. I saw that one. So yeah, I mean, they're going to be coming, but we need them. And the HX310, which is most widely used now, has been discontinued for a couple of years. So once that stock's gone, I mean, Sony hasn't released a new one yet. So I don't know what will take over. Matt said he would like an invite.
All right, 1 second. Tim Todd, thank you for the super chat. He says, if HDTV tests findings, 5%, 10%, etc., are perfect EOTF, could be found inconsistently across the S95B panels, would that be a big thing? And wouldn't we think we would have seen this being reported already?
The problem is not a whole lot of calibration places have them yet. I'm waiting for D-Nice to spend some time with one. I know he's going to take his time with it and make sure it's done right. And again, I did not dispute that Vincent was seeing that at all. I mean, just because mine wasn't showing that, I don't know why. But yeah, that would be bad if that's the case. It could be fixed in a firmware update. It could be any number of things. Who knows? The whole thing is he's really focusing on that and thinking that I was trying to say the TV was accurate because of his measurements, but that's not the case. I never said the TV was accurate, and my 10% numbers did not vary from my 9 and 11% numbers. So,
facts. Nah, you never said 100% accuracy ever once on the stream, and I want to clarify that to everybody. You never said that.
Yeah, but the entire time it was, how close can I get it to my LG, which is calibrated, which it would be the most accurate display that I currently have here, and that's what the test was how close can it get, and then where can I separate the accuracy from the panel advancements, like where the LG loses color entirely, and that doesn't. It's not the shades of the fire, like I said earlier. It's, is there fire or is it white?
Yeah, Matt, I'm gonna message you on Twitter with the link.
Yeah, I kind of find it interesting too that he said that. And I was just thinking about all the streams that was done. I don't think anybody have ever said that about the S95B.
No.
So that's where I'm trying to think about if someone just like, yeah, I like I said, I don't know, because I know Classy definitely didn't say that. He said it from the very good get go
Yeah.
about it. So
Countless
Yep.
times, you know, I want to see the A95K. You know, LG is gonna be able to calibrate more accurately, like just over and over the same things.
Yeah. Fact. Oh, I'm gonna
so
go like
this may
now.
go back with you got another super chat or
Did I? No, I don't think so.
Gaming Tech says something about the LG on the 9%
Oh yeah,
pattern.
yeah. Where's that at?
You comments that.
Classic. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this was you know, something that I've heard more than one person say. Why go this deep into Samsung testing when you've never gone this deep into an LG or a Sony or whatever? You know, it's just, are you trying to find problems? I mean, who knows? I don't know. I don't like to speculate on things like that. That's not, you know, an accusation or anything. That's just, I don't know why. But yeah, I don't experience that much difference changing the pattern on, you know, if I were to do it on the LG, I'm sure the 9% would be the same roughly as 10%. Like, there's a very, very slight luminance difference. Other than that, it should be the same.
Cool. Sent you the invite, Matt.
And then there's another comment. Jiraiya De Souza. Sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly. This is still going back to the 9% versus 10% versus 11%. He was saying he also claimed that Samsung is being deceptive in the discrepancy between a 9 versus 10 versus 11% without knowing whether the discrepancy can be seen by multiple people.
I don't see that. You see that, Classy? You can highlight it if you see
Right
it.
there.
Okay.
I know he said in the video that they had someone else on a different panel confirm it. I don't know who. I don't know how. I don't know. Like I said, that's where, if a conversation was had and there was an investigation that multiple people could have been involved in, that's the way things should be handled. Not, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, run off with a video, you know, whatever. Like, I don't get it.
One sec. I'll be right back. Continue conversation.
Okay. For the people asking in KG's image, let's go ahead and make. Let's see, can we do it? Well, let me find the button. There it is. The one on the right, I believe, is the S95B, and the one on the left was the QN90B.
The one on the left is the QN90B, and the one on the right is the S95B. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm gonna set it up properly. One second.
Again, if you go to AVS forum, I spent a ton of time. I did everything. My panel does not have that. My 9, 10, and 11% measurements are all basically the same. And, you know, I spent a bunch of time yesterday going through the controls that are available. And again, filmmaker mode out of the box, not accurate. Never said it was. Filmmaker mode with the controls available, still not great. Like, it's fine for most. It's not what I want to see as a calibrator. They lock you out of the 20-point controls. That's dumb. In Filmmaker SDR, they boost the peak brightness for unknown reason that they shouldn't do. So I pointed all that out in my video about everything wrong that I've found with it. So to say that I'm trying to say it's accurate, I don't know where that came from. And so as I mentioned earlier, that I found another potential issue. My cat nose touched the screen, and then I have really soft, clean microfiber towels, and I have a little spritzer bottle of distilled water, and that's how I always clean my TVs. And then for like if there's something really gunky on there, you can put a tiny drop of Dawn in the distilled water. That's like a worst case scenario thing, but I have that. And so I clean the panel like I always would. And then today, with the panel off, I opened my curtains, sun's pouring in. It hit where the cat nose was, and I'm seeing like this blue smudge that normally, if cleaning the panel shouldn't be there. So I don't know if a combination of whatever from the cat nose or whatever, like cleaning the panel, if it's touched with something, may be different than other TVs. I don't know. I'm gonna experiment with different ways of cleaning it. But I just thought that would be something to point out. Someone else also said they had a smudge on theirs, and when the light hits it with the TV off, it's kind of bluish also. But it's only visible when the TV's off and a lot of light is hitting it directly. So I don't know if it possibly did something to the coating on the screen. Not sure. Matt said invite ? Did you send it to him?
Yeah, on Twitter.
No.
Does he want it to his email or something? I didn't know. I thought he was.
I normally send it to him on email, but.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. So anyway, if I discover anything, if I can't get the panel clean or something seems to damage the panel when cleaning, like I'll do a follow-up about that.
Part you could pull up Salad Master. He said, "Classy Awesome said, do you have settings for image for movie game beyond the -3 and +2? If the Samsung pushes color and bring brightness, if we want accuracy, can't we lower saturation and the panel brightness too low?"
You don't want to drop an HDR. You don't want to drop anything for the brightness. Yeah, I'm gonna have a video for settings soon. And again, what I measure on my panel will not be perfect for everyone. There's tons of panel variance. What I saw with the color saturation is dropping the color setting down to 20 seemed to improve all the colors as far as how oversaturated it was. Still not perfect, not great. I had to go into CMS and do a whole lot more. But it could at least move you more in the right direction if your panel's similar.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a good one.
What's up,
Hey,
Matt?
how's it going? Here's one comment review for the tube. He said, "Why isn't he pointing out the amazing things it does, like what he always talked about, like white subpixels dilution, the Mena." He loved the A90J because of his ELF, it being less and still didn't match the reference.
Again, I don't want to try and speculate on why. Everyone knows first impression is important. So when you're not going to really show strengths in your first impressions, I don't know why. It was a similar thing from that with the Alienware monitor. I was confused why his first video didn't show how lifted near black was, which was what I had shown in my video beforehand. And he didn't show that until a later video. So again, I don't know. I don't want to speculate why someone does what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried to just show everything as I learned it on the stream, and then I tried to point out positives, negatives, whatever along the way. And yeah. So, how's it going, Matt?
What's up? I rushed to get on stream as fast as I could, just so you know. I haven't showered yet.
Oh man! I mean, if you go shower, we'll still be here.
Good thing we don't have smell-o-vision.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's like, well, you can't smell me, so it's all good. I don't know. Like, I think I can give a lot of insight, and I know you kind of like know where I come from when it comes to like reference standards. And even in like your first long stream, I kind of mentioned some of the things that I saw and didn't see, but I I think the technology is solid. I think
Yeah.
this whole miscommunication came from the fact that you guys got different measurements.
Yeah.
You and I get different measurements all the time.
Yeah.
Like
And then
different
we
white
talk about
points,
it.
and we talk about it.
Yeah.
You have to realize that someone like myself and Vincent do think alike sometimes when it comes to, hey, this doesn't follow PQ. I released a video on Saturday talking about, well, I mean, it's a members video, but talking about how to adjust HDR on LGs to follow PQ more accurately and avoid this tone mapping, right? So I think the biggest fault of this brightness loss and these other things are when people turn on not dynamic tone mapping, but tone mapping off on like an LG, you get what are called roll-offs, okay? And when you have roll-offs on an LG versus say like a Sony, which is going to track PQ like all the way up, it's going to make the image look dimmer because as you get closer to its peak brightness, it rolls off. I said it before, and there's things that Vincent was absolutely right on in terms of there is color saturation that is artificial, even if the TV was or wasn't calibrated, going on with the Samsung. That's unavoidable.
Yeah, and I agreed and said that as well. And
Right.
again, aside from personal stuff or however you want to describe it, like the way things were done, the other issue is out of the box accuracy and measurements and stuff on the Samsung versus calibrated LGs and stuff like that. Like you're saying, out of the box, an LG, you turn off dynamic tone mapping, you're
Right.
using whatever roll-offs are there, and
So
it's
when
I
he
feel
did
it's
his
apples and
measurements, when he did his measurements at 10%, it was tracking correctly, and
which is weird. I
Which is
absolutely
weird.
agree.
and I can agree with that. So he has to go by his measurements, and that was on a 55. I believe you have a 65, right?
Yep, and again, I don't know
Okay.
if we got different firmwares,
And that's fine.
whatever.
However, when we were doing some measurements on stream in that mid-range, that peak area, which is in that 100 to say 150 nit range, we saw there was over brightening going on. We could see that by DEITP. We could see the colors, and we saw that manifest in real content. And part of his video where he's showing, like, the thing I disagreed was the fact that there was no reason for Vincent to take your screenshots and use them for his video. He could easily put that content himself up on his screens to show the differences. And that's the only thing that I disagreed. Everything else I did agree with him on because I'm a reference slut. You know this.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He didn't show anything
Yeah.
inaccurate.
Right. What we're
Like I
going to
said,
see.
he brought fruit to my action figures.
Right. What we're going to see is when the A95K gets released, okay, out of the box, calibrated, whatever, we're going to see what separates the QD-OLED from the WRGB OLED. Because as of right now, it is only at the highest colors, at that higher end of colors, where you are going to see the difference. And you're speaking from someone that has seen reference calibrated OLEDs in studios with the X300, with the HX310, all side by side. And I've seen where the colors are separated between even a reference monitor at 1,000 nits versus the WRGB OLED. And what's going to end up happening is that, like you said, we're going to have better reference monitors because we're going to get to a point where they need to start tone mapping for QD OLEDs.
Mhm.
So we're going to need those 5,000 nit reference monitors as we transition into like a 4,000 nit range for content. But as of right now, you can easily compare a WRGB OLED and a QD OLED. If they both track accurately, they are not going to look that different until you get to the brightest of bright when it comes to the colors. And I think that's what I tried to portray in this long ass stream I did. And when the Sony comes out, that's where you're going to start seeing these big differences. But for standard content right now, especially content that was mastered on an X300, you're not going to see this huge leap in difference. And I think that's where he was freaking out a bit because the Samsung does pump out so much good color that it somewhat bamboozled some people into thinking like, oh, well, this is like this huge next step when it's not this ginormous step that people think it is.
I don't know.
That's my piece.
Right, I understand that, but you can see a lot of the color volume differences though, like in real content, in actual gaming content.
I think I think there's a line here that you're both right, because I think KG, yours is still pretty much out of the box. Like you have had
Yeah.
oversaturated colors. Matt, you haven't seen it yet. I know you saw stuff in studios and whatnot.
Yep.
I want you to see it, and I want
Mhm.
you to play with it, and
I'm
especially the Sony, especially the Sony.
Yeah, I'm not
And
even gonna look at the Samsung unless one gets put in front of me. I'm gonna look at the Sony.
I had a long talk with Sammy last night, and we were going through this movie's graded to this movie's graded to that. He's got a huge range.
Yep.
That's why Sammy's awesome. Like, he's going to put it through everything.
Yep.
And that's where, like, if I happened to start with Crimes of Grindelwald because I had watched it the night before. That movie is highly graded. It's, I think Sammy said 2,800 something nits, whatever. Like, it's up there. So that being the first like real movie that I threw in, I was surprised when I saw that fire.
Yeah.
But then you throw in The Dark Knight and you barely see anything. So I'm going to share real quick the measurements that I got. And tomorrow on my stream, I hope my throat is better. But I'm going to be showing now that I've calibrated this to the best of its ability with what I can do. Okay. And so these are like how it started out. You can see the EOTF is pretty bad, right? The kink that showed up here where it dropped off on stream, D-Nice helped me with that. That was the Meridio 7. If you use its default delay setting, there's an issue where the timing is wrong.
Yep.
So that's what fixed the kink. So that's all good. You can see this is my 10%, my 11%, 9%. They all look basically the same.
Okay.
And then here's the DCI P3 out of the box. You can see oversaturated for sure. 10%, 11%, 9%. They're all roughly the same. So then using the controls that are given, you can see a touch right there that's under and a little bit more that's over here. So there is that slight S, but given that's all you can do,
Right.
I mean, that's as close as it's going to get. Now I want to see how that compares in content.
Yeah.
And then
and for me, like I said, that's still
this is what we want the
still gonna
Sony
look
for.
different.
Yeah, this is what we want the Sony for.
Yeah.
And then I was surprised because the QN90A, QN90B, you try to do CMS and HDR, you're chasing your tail. The CMS on this actually was fairly decent. It's not as good as a Sony. It's not as good as LG. But you can see in HDR, most of the color errors throughout the whole thing on around 2% or less. That's for no LUT, for HDR, for a Samsung. I'm not going to complain about that. You can see it's still oversaturated, but it's not as bad as it was. So now that this is as good as I'm going to get it at this point, now I'm going to go back and compare it. And then here's the HDR color checker, which you can see, it can't hit the farthest ends, but it gets closer than anything else we've had up to this point. And there's still some oversaturation spots here. Like, it's what you expect out of a Samsung.
I wanted to answer a question from BatTech. He says, why do I say I won't look at the S95B? Hey, stores aren't putting them up for display. I'm not here to spend $3,000 and buy one just so I can not be able to calibrate it, right? Brandon says he might get one. Sammy's going to get one by tomorrow, so all of the measurements will come from him. I don't need to look at a display. I mean, I could literally look at charts and measurements and understand what it can and can't do. So if I go in and I look at a Samsung display, especially like at a store, that's going to do me no good. Bright environment, vivid mode, who knows what it looks like. And if I cannot calibrate it to literally follow that curve, so we're doing an equal comparison, color to color. People have to realize that PQ is absolute. 100 nits is 100 nits. If it's on the LG at 100 nits, it's 100 nits on the Samsung. They are going to match each other. Now, as those raise up, there's going to be a point where the LG is going to run out of color, like actual color volume, and the Samsung should continue to go up. If the Samsung's already above it and it's at lower points, you're not able to compare them side by side because it's always going to look more colorful. So I won't be able to see at what point is that Samsung panel better than the LG. That's why I want the Sony. So then I can see on the Sony, okay, where does the WRGB run out of gas, and where does the QD-OLED take off?
Yeah.
So for me, it's a waste of time. That's just me.
Okay.
And Sammy is gonna again provide everything that you want to see, and Sammy has color space, so he can show like an actual 3-dimensional cube of the colors and stuff.
Right.
I don't have color space yet, so
Let me hit these
Yeah, you got
super
it.
chats.
Couple of super chats.
Christopher Rio said
I'll
he's
be back in
bought
a
and
minute.
paid for it. Samsung won't pay up. I don't think so. I don't think it's nothing like that, man.
Wait,
I don't
who-
share that same opinion. I don't think
Who?
anybody's out here getting backdoor paid or anything. So I know there's a lot of TV conspiracies out there, but I don't feel like that. Nah. But thank you for the super chat. Alexander Fleener says, wow, mad respect to all of you. I need to get some therapy after watching Vincent's video. Someone called Brian. Wait till the A95K is out. QD is a game changer. I mean, I like the QD OLED a lot because I see some of the differences what it does next to a regular WRGB OLED. You
Yeah,
can see the differences. You can see where the WRGB OLED falls off a cliff in those higher nit contents. Like when you're playing games, you see it. So that's why I'm excited about it. I know it's not accurate. It's a Samsung. I'd never expected it to be accurate. Like I went in thinking, yeah, this is probably going to be tuned way too high and I'm going to love it because that's the kind of person I am. You know, like, of course. So this TV was probably designed for me. You know, like, honestly, I'm okay with that. So I get both sides, right? I totally respect both sides. I just don't know why I got dragged into it by Vincent, like showing my stuff. I was like, hold up, I never said I was a calibrator. I never said I like accuracy ever. I'm pretty open about this stuff. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it's a game changer. The technology itself, when you see it probably on an accurate display, if you're somebody who likes accuracy, you'll probably agree, Matt, that this is a game changer as well.
What the panel technology for sure is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
When I say it's a game changer, I can't subscribe to that thought, and that's just me.
Right.
Like
fair.
in the same way that say like a quantum dot QLED is going to have more color volume than say a WRGB OLED, yet that panel type is not used in studios. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
It's all about what is going to match the reference monitor, whatever that reference monitor may be. And if the Sonys are as good as they should be with the QD-OLED, I expect studios to start switching over to Sonys for their client monitors. I would fully expect that. But
yeah.
I wouldn't straight call it a game changer based on a single sample size of a TV that is not tracking with HDR or something where if you have SDR and you're calibrating it to like 300 nits, there's a big difference there. Like your WRGB OLED can't even hit that. So you're not comparing apples to apples.
That's fair, but I think, when you see those higher brightness content and you see the LG OLED just start to dilute its colors, that shows that we need this QD OLED for standard viewing. Like,
right. So KG, I mean this with all respect.
Yeah.
It's not brighter when it comes to the general range of HDR and PQ or even reference SDR. It is brighter when it gets to the point where, as an everyman, you're using this panel as you see fit. And I think no, there's nothing wrong with it. That's what I'm saying. The problem with this argument is that you should have never been dragged into this.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with you because you never even calibrate stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what I walked back into.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, can we imagine if Panasonic switches to QD-OLED, it comes back to the States? Could we all celebrate?
I would love that. I would 100% love that.
And right now, I got to tell everybody, as a calibrator, I look at game mode on this, and I'm, no, game mode, no good. But let me throw this on. As a gamer, it's the best damn looking game mode TV there is.
Exactly. Classy, you see that. You see that. When you put it on, you're like, dang.
Yeah. Again, it's not accurate. It's not.
Exactly.
And as a calibrator, I know that. But it's a game. I mean...
100%, dude. And I think
I'm
games
able to have fun with it, too.
I think games shouldn't even be judged by a reference standard because they're pushed beyond that. They are in the studios.
They're beyond reference.
Well,
KG,
no,
is that
but
what
they're
you're saying?
no. I'm
You
not
said
saying
it.
that.
You said they're
You're
beyond
putting
reference.
words in my voice. You're putting
No,
words
you
in
said
my
it.
mouth. But you know what I mean, right? Like, if they make a 10,000 nit game, if you have a 10,000 nit TV, it can display it. Unlike,
Right, but we have to realize the only time that brightness is relative is in SDR. When you get to HDR, if it's accurate, 50 nits is 50 nits. 200 nits is 200 nits. There is no difference in brightness until you get to the point where the TVs run out of gas.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see a 10,000 nit full screen
it is hypothetical.
game.
Hypothetical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
wasn't being
hypothetical.
serious about it. I'm just
10,000
saying.
nits is going to be a thing. It will be a thing within our lifetimes. But people, again, don't realize that 10,000 nits is only twice as bright as 100 nits. People don't realize how bright some of this stuff is and how dim some of this stuff is. In SDR, if you take an image that's supposed to be 80 nits and you turn your OLED light all the way up and now it's 250 nits, the whole image looks bright as hell. So like it's all relative, and that's the biggest thing that people can't wrap their heads around, is that it's not twice the number, it's not 3 times the number. It literally is just like cameras. You have to think of it as in stops of brightness. So 4,000 nits is 90% of 10,000. Like once that starts wrapping around your head, you start understanding that it's exponential. It's not like this straight curve or straight line.
One second. I gotta catch up.
Yeah, do that. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick.
Okay.
All right.
Let me catch up with these chats. So all that tech said, just got a 77-inch A80J in January, but I'm tempted to sell it and move down to a 65-inch QD-OLED due to the vertical banding and chrominance overshoot. And I love the QD-OLED, but I still couldn't think I could move my A80J for it. That's why I'm putting the QD-OLED in my bedroom. I couldn't like replace it like that. So going down in size, I don't think it's a good idea. Wait till the newer sizes come out, because I think we will maybe see a 75-inch next year. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I think we can see one, because I was watching that seminar thing, and at the end of that seminar, they asked about larger sizes, and they said that Samsung Display is aware of it.
Yeah, I do not in any way expect Samsung Display to tell me for sure, but I will reach out to that person at Samsung Display and ask them if we can expect a larger size soon, and I will let you know what they say.
Yeah. And everyone, thank you, Francisco Diaz, for the super chat. He says everyone is so excited for the S95B. What about the A95K? Are you excited for that as well? If so, what are you looking forward to with the A95K? Absolutely.
That's what I've been saying all week.
Yeah. It's
for sure.
Sony is known for the accuracy, and like I said, I have the Sony A90J. I still to this day think it's a great TV. I know I make jokes here and there and stuff, but the S95B, it's a really great TV, and that's why I do see the differences with both TVs. But like I said, that's off my own opinion.
It's gonna be fun to see next to each other. That's for sure.
Yeah, we've been holding over around 400 people, so if everyone
crazy.
can show KG some and give
you
them
do
like
have another super chat too.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm hitting these super chats right now. That is
next
crazy.
gen tech too.
Wow. Thank you guys for showing the love. And we will scroll up and go through a bunch of questions too. Don't worry. It was just kind of hectic for a while. Let me hit the rest, and then we got Next Gen Tech says any difference in the update 12.04. Did you find anything classy with this?
So what happened was when I opened mine, it had an update available. I didn't check the number. And then it was like 2 days later, everyone started saying there's a new update available, but you got to download it from the website. Turned out that's what it pushed through to my TV early. I don't know why. So I don't get the test before and after. I just get everything I've done is after. So
Yeah. So thank you for the super chat, Next Gen Tech. I haven't seen anything with it at the moment. I still am on the old one, so I'm going to update probably tonight and see if I notice any differences. Bat Tech, thank you for the super chat. He says, getting Phantom Menace vibes now with the A95K. What if it comes out and the S95B is actually better? People are assuming the A95K will be would be best. I think it's going to be one of those situations where it depends who you are.
I'll give a perfect comparison. Do you guys remember the comparisons on the LG, what was it, the CX versus the Sony
A8H?
A9G?
Yeah.
No, the A9G specifically, because the A9G was classified as a Master Series panel. This was before the heatsink and the A90J, and it was gorgeous. I actually did one recently, but the brightness on it was less. And the fact that you could pop on dynamic tone mapping on the LG C1 and it had more gaming features and all this stuff, it depends on what you like. So my prediction is that the A95K is going to calibrate better. It's going to be more accurate. It's going to be closer to reference, and people aren't going to like it as much as the Samsung, including KG. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I totally agree. I agree with you.
Now you have options.
Yeah.
Now you can say, I love gaming. I love my gaming bar. I love all this stuff. You like gaming, get the Samsung. You want absolute accuracy. You want something that can be calibrated to a T. You get the Sony. But you spend way more money, which sucks. But you can't get both. You can't get reference and preference at the same time. And that's what it's going to come down to. So I think myself and Vincent are in the reference camp. And I'm sorry he dragged you into the reference camp, KG. He should have just left you in the preference camp and not attacked you. And, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I'm, like I said, I'm 99% sure I will keep the A95K. The question mark is, does it dim games?
Yes.
Like, to me, that's enough that if it has logo dimming, if it does, that for me is a deal breaker. And then I will make do with the Samsung for a year until next year and evaluate options then. But, that's just because I had the 77 A80J for a year. It was excellent for movies. I loved it. But I just couldn't play games on it. It just bugged me. So,
yeah. See, I really like the A80J. That's why I bought it over the C1 for my big TV. And I just like the image quality overall. What they did with the processing, it just blew me away. So I'm interested to see what that's going to bring to the QD-OLED, because they are pretty top notch when it comes to that. I will say this, the S95B's processing is crazy. Like, it's very good. And it's kind of close, if not better, than the A80J when I put it next to it. So the clarity is definitely there. So I want to see it. I want to see it for sure. Yeah, awesome. And then Anthony, thank you for this super chat. Thank you for the super chat, $20. Appreciate you. He says, in all types of content, cable streaming, gaming, PC, SDR, HDR, how often, percentage-wise, will I see an improvement between the S95B and, say, a C2, G2? And what is the percentage of this improvement? It's something that's hard to quantify, really.
Cable, probably nothing. I mean,
probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else, I don't know how much of your viewing habits is SDR or HDR, and of the HDR, what is lower grades versus higher grades? Like, that's a very difficult question to say or answer. Because again, the first thing I threw in, I didn't even realize about the grading at the time of Crimes of Grindelwald, but it was something that really showed a difference. And then as I go through content, some things there's basically no difference, or very little, and then other things there's a lot, and it's really hard to answer.
Yeah. So even in SDR, I mean, if it is inaccurate, then this is what's causing it. Like, I do notice a little bit more of that picture pop for SDR. So if you're preferring that, say over like the more accurate image, the way it's supposed to be, then maybe you will like this S95B for SDR better. It's possible. And cable, same thing. We're talking about watching sports. It is definitely going to be able to get to those higher brightness levels for sports. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And then for HDR, I think there's absolutely a big difference, but again, it really depends on what you like. I think it's a huge difference for HDR. Thank you for the super chat.
You have another super chat?
Yeah, I'm going to hit it. And then Christopher Rios, thank you for the super chat. He says, saturation doesn't invalidate color luminance. Just saying. Thank you for the super chat. Anybody got anything to chime in on that?
Well, on the new G2s, I'm not sure if it's on the C2s. I know for a fact it's on the G2s, is that they have increased the actual pushing on the RGB subpixels by what, 10%?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting as huge a leap and bound from like to the QD-OLED, but at least on the G2s this year, you are getting more color volume than the previous years. So at least you got something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
pointed that out to you too, like when I first saw that, but now we're also seeing that they're pushing the white so hard that it's kind of offsetting it, and that the color volume measurement, like ratings got, was actually slightly lower than the C2. So it does seem they are just pushing too hard at this point just to get bright.
Yeah. And to play devil's advocate, Panasonic, which is this holier than thou, they do the same thing with their heat sinks. They were pushing the white subpixel super hard too.
Are you guys talking about this?
Mozart's Ghost just hit it.
Are you guys talking about what I got highlighted right now? The saturation doesn't invalidate color luminance?
Yeah, because he was saying that the G2 was pushing the color subpixels more.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But at the same time, they're also kind of, I think they did that to try and offset how much they wanted to push white. But in the end, it's basically like the same color volume that we've had, just brighter.
If you guys like the look of the A90J, the G2 this year is basically going to be like an A90J with all the gaming features in terms of how it's going to be able to push the panel. It's not going to have the same processing or upscaling, but in terms of actually hitting those numbers, it's going to do it. So
cool. Yeah, and
it's
then
going to be a pretty good panel.
Ultimate Fox, thank you for the super chat. He says, I have a 65-inch Sony A8H. It's been a great TV. However, in your guys' opinion, should I get the S95B? Would it be an upgrade? That's a
big
tough
upgrade.
question, yeah.
No, I think it's a big upgrade.
You think it
the
is?
A8Hs, I thought, did not have enough brightness, regardless. Like, I always felt that they were dimmer than the LGs back then, and I still hold to that. Really good color. They're really accurate, but they just don't have that extra oomph that like the A9Gs had. And I always sold the LGs over the A8H for that reason if they didn't have a master series. So comparing the two of those, like, it kind of depends on your use case. But if you're gaming, yes. If you're not gaming, no.
Yeah, I haven't seen many, but of the ones I have, it's like after calibration, upper 500s, maybe 600. Yeah. It's not very bright.
Oh, wow. Yeah, then it seems like an upgrade. Thank you for the super chat. And I think we're caught up. And if I missed any, please let me know. Let me double check.
No, you got everything.
Yeah. So I was gonna say earlier that I was messaged or left a comment for Gaming Tech because I know he's trying to get it, and we were talking about in Flight Simulator how in Dolby Vision it can retain that little bit more detail, and I'm curious once he gets it if he'll test with the improved tone mapping of the S95B if it negates that difference in Dolby Vision.
You have another super chat.
Okay. Solid Master, he said, future is accurate, higher nit content, including color. There should be a standard. Sammy needs accurate image setting this year. One Tech S95B, great start.
Yeah, like I said, compared to the previous few years, I actually don't know how far back it goes, but Samsung has not seemed to worry much about accuracy. Like, even when it comes to Kalman support, they're always late on getting it done. I mean, if you look at the Samsung Kalman thread on AVS, it's basically a laughing stock. Like, it's just constant jokes about Samsung. So I am still annoyed, and I don't understand the reasoning of graying out the 20-point settings for filmmaker and game mode. That makes no sense. Aside from that, I say that they have made some areas better, and maybe we can start to see them improve more in the coming years for that.
Yeah, I never expect accuracy from Samsung. It's just something that like I've never gone to expect. So I wasn't surprised. Were you? I mean, I wasn't.
No,
Yeah.
like I've been saying for over a year, Samsung gonna Samsung.
Yeah. I think like that's where they got that reputation from. And then that guy says Q90B versus S95B time. Yeah. I'll fire it back up. I just didn't want to keep running the Spears and Munsell disc over and over. I had to like run the chat for a second. But yeah, what do you guys want to see on it? Let me know.
Ooh, I don't know what you have. That's the problem. You got to
Well,
give us some
right
options.
now I have the Spears and Munsell disc up and
Who
running.
doesn't?
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, like, I have that up and running right now.
Go for high APL. So some of the demos that really show high APL.
I could do the 2000 nit demo here.
I meant not even on Spears and Munsell, like YouTube HDR demo, whatever.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
whatever
I can do
can
that.
show high APL to see how much it sticks with it.
I can do that.
So one thing I want to talk about while we actually do this is I know someone had mentioned like dynamic tone mapping on these LG sets.
Yeah.
And you would actually kind of laugh. So all of the studio monitors that I've done, when you actually have them set up correctly and you turn dynamic tone mapping off, you'll actually see the test patterns get brighter. So by setting HDR tone mapping off, because what ends up happening is with dynamic tone mapping, it's doing its best to preserve every single little detail all up, and it's trying to compress everything down, and that's why your midtones get brighter too. Where when you turn that off, when you actually calibrate these sets to track PQ, like Vincent says, all the way accurately up, your brighter parts of the image actually get brighter. Like the actual image has more punch and APL, and it's more similar to like the Sonys with their HDR tone mapping off mode. And a lot of people don't understand how important it is for these TVs not to tone map. And that's why we need brighter TVs. So I'm all for 2000 nit TVs, 4000 nit TVs, 10,000 nit TVs. But the reason why I stand by what Vincent said is it's got to follow that curve. Because if you're under tracking down low, you're losing detail in the shadows. If you're over tracking up high, you're making things too bright. And when you make things too bright at the top end, you lose that effect of, you know, these specular highlights are very, very bright because everything's too bright up there already. So you actually lose contrast doing that. Can it look good? Yeah. But once we have like 4000 nit displays that are tracking PQ accurately, people are going to be really amazed at how they can look dark and bright at the same time and not just, oh, this TV is much brighter or this TV is much darker. They're just going to look correct. And that's what I'm waiting for. So that's why I'm curious to see the Sony and see how well it can do scenes like this where you're not losing any shadow detail, but you're still getting, you know, the actual like full range color at the top that the panel can produce.
That's
So
what I'm
it
talking
should be
about.
good.
Like, even when it's next to a brighter TV, you start to see more color. And when it's next to the WRGB OLED, you start to see more color that just wasn't there. I mean, I'm not saying Samsung can't just be adding this color where it's not there.
Sure it can.
Can they? Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's like they're making colors here.
I mean, if you've seen a comparison by, you know, Tickle Me Elmo, it looks like colors being added there that wasn't there. So the TV does have the capability to show more color volume, but it needs to be accurate in where it's showing that volume. Does that make sense? Like it can do it, yes, and it is showing it on this TV right now. Yes, you are getting that color volume, you are seeing it, but you're also seeing it in an exaggerated version of it. So it's kind of like you're seeing both at the same time.
Okay, but you're still seeing some of the strengths, though, right?
Oh no, 100%. You're seeing a lot more of the strengths.
You're seeing. It makes it difficult to see what is purely from the technology versus what is Samsung applying on top of it.
Yeah.
And you know, some people don't realize that the quantum dot LCD LED backlit, you know, mini LED backlit, whatever, QN90B, that just because it's quantum dot, it does not have the same gamut coverage. It does not have the same color volume. It is still light being pushed through like that, and it will, to a lesser degree than WRGB OLED, have lower color volume than the new QD-OLED. So you do get more color gamut and volume with the S95B here, but you are also getting oversaturation that honestly the QN90B is also Samsung, so I'm sure it's oversaturating as well.
Yeah.
Just don't know without measuring both of the panels that you have to what extent they are both being oversaturated.
Right. I get that. So like a couple of those images where we were saying it just looks like we start to see more like warmth from the sun, for example. Do you think that's just the color push? Like, or do you think that's the color volume? Because we're seeing that in the higher brightness scenes. Oh, you're muted?
I was muted. It's both. So like you are taking full advantage of the panel,
Wait, pause.
but you're also
pause,
taking
pause.
Pause.
you're also taking way more advantage of the panel than you should. So that
I'll go
color
back.
has the capability to be there. And one thing that's incredible about this disc that most people don't realize is that this disc is mastered very differently than a lot of consumer content. This disc is mastered to the full 10,000. So when you are selecting these options here, a lot of these TVs are still going to see it as the full range master, and they're not going to tone map it. So that's why if you do like the horses in the snow scene on an LG OLED at 4,000 nits, unless you turn on dynamic tone mapping, all of the background detail is gone because it gets clipped out, right? Yeah. So this disc is very, very good to show the strengths of a QD-OLED. However, a lot of content that isn't mastered with this amount of quality, say, take any of your streaming services, you're not going to see as big a difference, say, on the new Sony that's coming out. And I think a lot of people might actually be disappointed in these more accurate modes on the Sony because it's going to look very, very similar. Now, when you do your game mode and you bump your backlight up, you bump your peak brightness up, and you turn your live color on, you're going to be like, holy crap, I've never seen anything look like this in my entire life. And that's totally cool. But I'm here as almost like a representative of the HDTV test, like Filmmaker Alliance, saying that like this is what he's trying to get across to you guys, and it's okay if you don't like the reference, and it's fine. Like I go outside of reference standards for day modes all day long, but that's why it's important that people, when they look at this panel, they have to realize that it is technically over brightening colors and over brightening the OTF.
Yeah, so KG, looking
this
at that
menu
right
off?
now, pause. I don't know, you're playing on the Xbox. I don't use
Yeah.
the Xbox.
Oh, okay.
But if you're looking at that right now, which do you prefer by eye?
The QD OLED.
Okay, so do you see in the Ferris wheel how it's super bright in the middle of the Ferris wheel? You see every line, and like even the roof of the building, you see all that on the QN90B.
Yeah.
That is pushing the bottom end way too bright.
Okay.
And then if you go over to the QD-OLED, that's closer, but it's actually crushed a bit.
Okay.
In reality, it should be somewhere in the middle as far as what you can see here. So this is not accurate on either,
right?
But it's just showing what happens if you really push EOTF and down low on the left versus if you're crushing down low on the right a little bit.
Okay. Let me go back to that scene.
And then you got super chat.
All right.
And like even right there, that city, those buildings on the QN90B are way too bright.
All right, we'll check it out here. Get out here, menu. Okay, there you go. Nicholas, right? Thank you for the super chat, Nicholas. He said, have we figured out the color space setting? Auto versus native versus custom, BT 2020, DCI P3. If P3 doesn't, that defeat the wider gamut advantage?
Not really, because the content is P3, graded in P3. So, I was even talking with Sammy after that stream, and there was like misunderstanding, miscommunication, whatever. But he said because of the way Samsung does things and that auto is broken, just leave the Samsung set to auto, which out of the box is going to be P3, or use the custom P3, whichever, either way. But until they fix that, that's what you're going to have to deal with. But something like this, the Spears and Munzel disc, where you know it's using more BT 2020,
Yeah.
that's where you switch it. But for all your games and movies and stuff, it's just going to be P3 anyway.
And you have measurement windows on Spears and Munsell, guys. So like you can pull up 75% test patterns on Spears and Munsell, and you can actually swap to different color spaces and make sure that your Spears and Munsell is in the right color space based on what you set on the Samsung. But yeah, auto mode freaking broken. That's dumb.
Yeah, that's
Like,
been
it
like
works
that
on
for
every other
years,
TV but
dude.
this.
Yeah, that's been like that for years. I don't know why, but thank you for the super chat. Classy, you were gonna say something about this scene. You told me to pause it.
No, I was just saying, like, this one on the QN90B, those buildings are way brighter than they're supposed to be.
It's definitely lifted.
So, yeah, you can. And then when that happens, the really bright light on the building in the front, that's losing some of the energy that the TV could be sending to that because it's pushing too much brightness elsewhere.
Yeah.
So that's what Matt was describing earlier with dynamic tone mapping. When you push the midtones, you're losing out on your highlights.
Well, not just that, but take dramatic effect. Like,
Yeah. You lose the contrast. You're making it more SDR-like.
Well, I mean, not so much that. Like, if you take a scene that's at dusk and a car is pulling up into a driveway, and that scene is overly bright, when the headlights turn on in the car, it's not just losing energy, but you lose the difference between dark and light. And sometimes those are designed to startle you or even make it look like, hey, I'm slightly blinded by this brightness. Where if you can already see everything in the scene and it's overly bright, you don't get that same contrast level between midtones and not specular highlights, but just those real bright images that the TVs are supposed to produce. So when we talk about director's intent, I think my favorite part of HDTV test video was not when he was comparing everything. It's when he was actually talking about director's intent. It's not so much the director, it's colorists that sit down literally for hours going scene by scene by scene, adjusting exposure, stops, color grading, doing all this stuff so that when the director comes in, they can look at it and go, that's exactly how I want it done. And for us as consumers to say, turn on dynamic tone mapping. You know what I mean? Like, it's bad for the film industry, but it's good for people that don't care. And it's a lot of people that don't care.
Yeah, and the main reason it's there, though, is for if you're watching HDR and you're critically watching, you should be doing it in as dark a room as possible. But we all know there are people who are going to be in a bright room, curtains open, midday, watching Netflix, whatever. And that's where, if someone wants to go into dynamic tone mapping or push their EOTF so they can see it during the day, let them do what they want to do.
Yeah, and I just want to say that on the QD-OLED here, the highlights, like all the lights and stuff, they're so much brighter than the QN90B right now. It's not even like close. So this is one of the reasons why I love the QD-OLED so much, is because if I had this next to a regular WRGB OLED, you weren't going to get the same type of brightness out of those highlights. Like those neon lights right there, you're just not going to get that. So that's why I am really excited about QD-OLED for scenes like this. Like even like Las Vegas and stuff like that is a great example. There's a demo on YouTube I'll go to for Samsung with Las Vegas, and that is a really good demo for the QD-OLED.
I'm going to respond to BatTech's comment. Ninja, how many times does creator intent change? Look at the Matrix films. The actual director of those movies transitioned. Okay. Please do not. Now, if we went from Matrix 1 to Matrix 2 and the Matrix 3, I can understand that. But the Matrix, I can't remember what it was called. The newest Matrix, Resurrections or whatever, was an abomination. It was terrible. Okay. Garbage. So, but the director, she actually went in there scene by scene and said, nope, that's exactly what I want to look like. So yeah, don't give me that director's intent can change. Like there's a big difference between comparing their older movies to newer movies versus what they graded for versus what they didn't. Sorry if that was mean, but like that was a really bad analogy you just made right there for director's intent. They sisters now. The comment I was trying to say earlier when I was muted, I was doing a fun little stream last night here in my office with the 48CX. You cannot film WRGB OLEDs, especially not next to these sets. They look like I was playing Metroid Dread, and the whole screen just looked blue as hell. Like right now, your QD-OLED looks pink, and
that I think I think there's like a red shift for a QD-OLED or something on camera because we see it a lot.
So BatTech, I have the UHD and the original Blu-ray box sets for the Matrix movies. They still have the green tint, and that's where, like I've said before, if your white point is off and you watch those movies, you might not see the green tint to it. It's when your white is set correctly that you actually do see that green tone throughout the movie.
Yeah, and when they remaster the films, again, that's them doing that as intended. Like, I really can't stand people determining what they think is director's intent. If the director wants to put Ewoks into, Empire Strikes Back, that's director's intent. So screw your own intent. That's what
add
they
in
did.
Hayden Christensen.
Oh, don't.
Hey,
all right,
that's
let's
what
not
he
go
wanted.
There. Let's not go
That's
there.
what he wanted.
Let's not get into all that. It's red because the anti-reflection is red.
Possibly, but I mean, you really just can't trust the metamerism of the camera.
Yeah.
So I was playing Super Mario Sunshine on stream last night, and there's that big red M that pops up from Evil Mario. It looked orange, like tangerine orange. And it's because when YouTube streams, it's literally you have no control over the camera. It just does it raw, and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
And Classy's got like a $5,000 camera, and he still can't dial it in to get the full range of these TVs. Like, I love that we're doing this side by side, but most people looking at this right now would be like, well, that Samsung looks off, and that other Samsung looks off. They both look weird, and you just can't white balance both of them. It is what it is. It would be really cool if we could have like Classy stream his, and then you do the
like
QN90, and then and then you like time it, like synchronize stopwatches, and then we can get two separate images. But that's way too much work. I mean, that's boring.
Yeah, and even doing that, that's the problem I was running into. I mean, I was all set with my plan. I was going to record the same stuff the same way, TV to TV, and then you won't have to deal with metamerism that way.
Yep.
Put them all together. It was going fine until this came along. If I put in the footage from the C2 next to this, they look similar in brightness when we all know they're not, and it's because all the color just clips off in the camera regardless. So it's I can't do it that way now. And then
I'm going to be doing a review on my C1 as part of me selling the TV, and I'm going to film it all in HDR. So I'm going to be filming it in more of like a one take. I'm probably gonna have to script it out, but I'm going to see how that comes across on YouTube. So we'll see.
Yeah, I tried that one time. It didn't come out good at all.
I'm just gonna try.
If you figure it out, let me know. For sure.
I will. I'm gonna do my best.
You have another super chat.
All right, thank you, Adam Maxwell. He says, "Do you think some of the backlash from Vincent is based on his loyalty to LG and not wanting to concede Samsung has surpassed them in some areas?" I don't think so. I don't believe in the loyalty to LG type thing.
He's just a
we don't want to speculate on anything either because that's not right to do. Like, he speculated some things, and that's what started all this. Like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But no, guys, he's a stickler for reference standards. He's a big, pusher for, the Ultra HD Alliance and Filmmaker Mode and all this stuff where it has accuracy. Just like I'm sure he's a huge pusher for ATSC 3.0. The more people that put their foot down and say this isn't accurate, and when he's got a huge channel and straight can say that Samsung is cheating because it's literally changing when you change window sizes, whether that's true or not, it still needs to be put out there so people realize like, hey, like Samsung needs to get their act together, so we can actually make all of this stuff better. And that's really what he's trying to get across.
Let me just say, the camera is actually looking really close to what I'm seeing right now. Pretty surprised.
And I'm going to point out too, again, the reason I asked him to come to these YouTube demos is because they are specifically graded with very high APL. Yeah,
Mhm.
this is not like normal movies. So this is pushing the panels as bright as they can across the entire image. That's where you see the QN90B getting brighter still. Like
Yeah.
that's going to happen in these really high APL scenes.
Absolutely. And also, I want to say that yes, the QN90B is going to get bright, but the fact that the S95B can get really close, like next to it, I think it's a really good advancement in where OLED was, because before it wasn't close. Like when
Yeah,
you
it
put
would
them
look
side by
like
side.
yeah, it would look like it was half dead sitting next to it.
Yeah. So that's really why I think it's the best of both worlds, the technology. And I can't wait to see what Sony does with it for sure.
You having a super chat?
Yeah. Gaming Tech, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Wish you luck with HDR and YouTube."
That's
Yeah,
just me.
man, seriously.
We'll see.
It takes like 3 hours. No, it takes like 3 days to render on it of HDR sometimes. So
Yeah, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try doing more dynamic range stills. Try different things, but
yeah, Buddy Love makes a good point. Like a lot of people won't care
Nope,
when they see
they won't.
this. Yeah, when they see this, they're just gonna be like, "Wow." And that's that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's awesome. I like what they're doing. It fits my preference. So
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned before too. When it comes to reviews, you can't just pick just one.
yeah, no, that
And,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
and that was like the point that I was trying to come across. You can't just pick just one and think that's just end all be all type review. You have to form your own opinion based on what you like when it comes to TVs. It's just like with anything else. Some people have a certain look of TVs, and some people have the opposite look of certain TVs. So
Yeah.
that's where I was coming from my perspective. That just don't just pick just one creator or YouTuber to say like you should get this TV or not get this TV. Form your own opinion about it. Look at the TV yourself and what you think you might like on it, and see if it checks some of the boxes that you may have or what you're looking for a future TV. That's pretty much where I was coming from that perspective.
Yeah.
and so for this is like you're showing this content right now because I asked you to, and this is showing where LCD still has a place.
Oh, for sure.
Every TV has a place. It has a reason. There's no one TV that's going to be perfect at everything. This is showing the strengths of the QN90B. You know, again, if you're in a bright room, they're both not accurate. Again, can't stress enough, neither of these are accurate.
Right.
They're both pushing EOTF. But the point is, if you're in a bright room and you want a bright LCD, there's still a reason to do that. If you switched over to the Batman, the QD-OLED would destroy the QN90B.
Watch this. I'll show you.
Yeah, so and
Oh,
that's the
that
other thing
turtle's coming
too.
right for me.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And then there's always trade-offs too, and that's what you have to think about too when you
Always.
pick one technology versus another. And that's what we were just mentioning about the QD-OLED. I think it has the opportunity to be the best of both worlds, with retaining that color compared to where OLEDs couldn't in the past, where you see those incremental changes each year. That's where I think this QD display or this QD technology, it will start to separate itself with WRGB panels.
All right, so watch this. Watch this demo now. You'll see, you know, the thing about the S95B is it does what OLED does, and it does a little bit of what LCD does. And that's why it's so impressive. But like you just have the QN90B on here. It is sort of like lifting a little bit, and
Right.
you will see a lot of blooming in this video.
So, not to sound biased, but the number one thing that, like the absolute number one thing that consumers want from a display is contrast. And I've said this time and time and time again that the only displays I will ever purchase will be self-emissive: plasma, OLED, QD-OLED, micro LED. I can't do transmissive. I can't do light through liquid displays because of, if you look at that panel on the left, even if it looks brighter, it looks more washed out. Even it doesn't matter what the camera looks like, it looks more washed out and you don't get the contrast. So this is a dark forest scene, and on one side it looks like it's the afternoon. And again, that's just the camera, but you're losing that contrast. And people don't understand, if it's dark room, bright room, whatever, the more contrast you have, the more realistic the image is going to look. And that's the point of HDR. HDR is for high dynamic contrast. Same wording, range, contrast, all the same thing. So if you take your absolute black in this scene and divide it by the brightest white, the QD-OLED, no matter how bright that the QLED gets, is going to have a better contrast ratio.
Yeah. And to answer your question here, the right is slightly crushed compared to how overly lifted the left is.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's due to the panel technology, really, when it comes down to it.
I think Mike Gadget's World did a video that I watched today, and like he's like, guess which one's which? And in the first 3 seconds, I knew which one. And I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Because you know what to look for.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great video, by the way. Go check that out.
Yeah, it was very
you guys
cool.
get a chance.
I liked it.
Yeah, then you have a super chat from Robert.
All right.
He didn't say anything, but he just
He
showed
said
some
something
love.
underneath. So hey, thank you for
okay.
the super chat, Robert. And he says the difference in all of these sets is once fully calibrated, it is imperceivable to the common man that all of this arguing just comes off as arrogance.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I come off as super arrogant all the time. I don't care. Like, I know where to pick my fights and pick my battles. But I will say, like, as much as I respect Vincent, the only problem I had with this video was using other people's footage to prove his point. That's what bugged me, is that you don't need to use their screenshots if you're going to recreate that same footage on your own displays anyways. You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to simply say, here are the scenes that were compared. Here's what my Canon reference monitor is telling me for the actual like SDR and HDR, grade, the range, and here's my results. You don't need to simply say, some quarters are doing it. I'm like, no, you don't have to say that stuff, dude. Like, that's how you get people like Tickle Me Elmo responding to you, is by like baiting them, and it's annoying.
Yeah, my bad. I had the camera exposure down on this one because it was from the other one.
Yeah, that, and then I think the other thing that got to me was you're basing when you have your own opinion, you can't just say yours is the absolute truth. That's where it got me kind of wrong on that one, because I felt that's where you had to base your own opinion by looking at other reviews and say to yourself, is this the TV for me?
Right.
Yeah, and again, it's taking 20, 30 hours, whatever, of footage, and then taking a few things out of context into a 10-minute video.
Yeah.
Which you can never do. You can never do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely room for all technology still. There's no doubt about that. I could see people still wanting a QN90B in a bright room for sure.
Or even a C2 or a G2, or I mean, to be fair, G2 is kind of hard at the 65-inch to recommend because of the price. But
that's where I'm at.
C2 or a G1 or a C1, like, they're cheaper.
See, I wouldn't even
bigger.
go for a C2. I would just go for a C1 at this point.
Yeah, 6 months from now, though, when the C1s are gone, like, I mean, there's going to be certainly people buying them.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with those. They're still great.
Yeah.
It's very few of us are willing to give up the size and pay more, just for that, the few scenes that are going to look different. But, for me, it's, like I said, it's a temporary situation until bigger ones come. And, it ties into my job, my business. It's just new technology, so I'm going to get it.
So
and then
the
another
skin
thing.
tone. Oh, sorry. The skin tone is that inaccurate then for the S95B?
They're both inaccurate right now. That's the problem.
Right. But like, I don't know. There just seems to be something to the skin tone when I
Just-
seen it next to the OLED, and even when I see it next to the QN90B. So
Yeah, just try to imagine it somewhere in the middle. Maybe it's so hard to say.
okay. So it's like I see glimpses of of the benefits, but I'm also seeing some of the
I don't know. Through the camera,
fluff, I
some
guess.
of the like reflections off their skin are like way too white bright on the QN90B. So in those instances, if
that's
that's
what it
how it
looks like.
looks,
No, yeah, that's what it looks like.
yeah.
So I
that's
mean, looking at stream, because I think us in the stream have the best view at it. The QN90B looks too bluish green, and the S95B looks too magenta. But what are you going to do? Like, you can't fix. You're,
Oh, well, yeah, that's that.
you're literally like here.
That's
Like,
like-
no matter what
yeah.
you do, you're going to be playing merry-go-round with the white balance. So
Yeah.
you might as well just put it on auto at this point and just let it do its thing. But I mean, I think my biggest thing that drives me crazy is, and I've said this 1,000 times, and Caleb Dennison is so guilty of this, and LG is so guilty of this, is stating that these LGs are blue or green, even after they're calibrated. Okay. I'm so sick of that because, one, everyone thinks, oh, filmmaker mode out of the box, that's D65. Vincent Teo on camera has stated the LG C1s at warm 50 or D65. They're not. They fall at around like 305, 320. I generally have to take like 16 clicks of blue out of them, like 4 more clicks of green, right? But then when you film a WRGB OLED, even at D65, they look bluish green on camera. So now you got a TV that's already too cyan. Then you film it with a camera that makes it look more cyan. And then you put it next to a QD-OLED, which looks pretty good through a camera lens. And I think a lot of people do these comparisons online, and you look at it and you go, oh my gosh. I remember when we saw the CES comparisons and we're like, oh, that thing is crushing it. And you're like, no, it's not. You have to,
Yeah,
you have to
but-
be there.
Here's the thing that though, Matt, like you're not seeing exactly what QD-OLED is doing through our cameras. Like,
Yeah.
No, I'm
it's
not. I'm not
clipping
even
our
paying
cameras.
attention.
Like,
Yeah.
No. I'm
No,
not
I
even
mean,
paying
but
attention.
they're not even seeing like what QD-OLED is doing to us internally.
Right.
Yeah, and that's where I always say, I make sure I always say that in all my videos. It's no camera can truly represent or what you're seeing through YouTube. So there's so many different variables with that. And you know, the funny thing is, like my gadget world, he made a comment, seemed like we were never going to have a perfect TV. And I agree with him, but he did a really, really good comparison on the QN90B with the S95B. But at the same time, too, you have a lot of people who will make comments stating that, well, I see this color is pushing this, or I see this is brighter or crushing this. You have to listen to the creators commenting on these videos. You're never going to see what it's going to look like on through YouTube. Period.
Yeah.
You have to see it in person, and that's what we try to portray to people and say, "Hey, we know, you know, through the camera you can't see everything, but just listen to what we can see in person."
Yeah, like that lizard's arm that just a second ago, his arm was so red. I can't get that color on an LG OLED or on the QN90B. I tried. Like I was
color
trying to
doesn't
mess with the
exist.
saturation. Like,
That color doesn't exist, KG. That's why.
See, and
like
something else that most people underestimate is panel variance. I don't think most people can grasp how much panel variance there is, even in like a Master Series A90J, which is binned supposedly. There is so much more variance than people realize. I was talking with D-Nice, and he's like, some of these A90Js, they're a little lifted near black. Some of them are too dark near black. Some of them are spot on. Some of them have red deficiencies where you just can't get red to be red. Some of them are perfectly fine for red.
Yeah.
So there is so much panel variance that even calibration can't always fix or address. Like,
yeah.
there are so many out of the box white points that we see on Sony, LG, Samsung, whatever. It doesn't matter. So
The goal of calibration is to maximize the capabilities of the panel, and people really see this backwards. They're like, oh, they're nerfing your panel into 30-year-old standards. Like, no, we're maximizing your panel for current standards, which include HDR, Dolby Vision, and SDR. And a lot of these panels, if you're not fixing their gamut, you could actually be nerfing the panel by not getting it calibrated. And I've seen plenty of times post HDR, especially in game mode, on these WRGB OLEDs, you do get more color gamut after calibration. You're using the full capability. So when it comes to this panel, I'm going to be really curious to see Classy's assessments, because he spent a lot of time dialing in those color checkers and dialing in the actual saturation sweeps so that he can do a more, objective view versus like a LG OLED and really start to see where they separate towards the top. And I'm definitely going to watch that. If you stream it, I'll join, because that'll be really fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna be suffering through another stream tomorrow with my voice, but yeah, I just want to again, like, how many times did we hear last year A90J is, lifted near black, but then at the shootout with Jason Dustle and Tyler Pruitt on the A90J, guess what? It crushed black.
Well, didn't they calibrate it?
After calibration, they were back and forth. Should we go to black level 51? Should we keep it at 50? What are we going to do? They decided just to keep it at 50. It actually crushed a little bit, even though other sources would tell you that they all lift.
Well, they lift out of the box. Well, most of them lift out of the box, like 95% of them.
And I think D-Nice would probably tell you that number is a little high, because there is plenty that are okay, some that are crushed. It's not something that you can just make a blanket statement about, at least.
Right. But yeah, after calibration, an A90J looks way better for me than out of the box, because it does track near shadow detail much cleaner, and you get more contrast.
Yeah, if you had to guess, how many have you done so far of the A90s? Because I've only seen one crush personally, but I've done like 12, 15 of them, and I would say one crushed. Half of them were a little raised, and the rest were pretty spot on.
I've done both A80Js and A90Js, and they say about the same. So I'd say I've done at least 25 of those.
Yeah.
And so for me, all of them had that raise. Like when I did the initial sweeps, the gamma, like right near black at that 5%. 5% always needed so much more adjustment, like that negative adjustment you always do.
Yeah.
On every single one. So I'm 25 for 25.
You have a super chat.
All right, I'm gonna hit it just a second. This scene right here, right? Do you see how on the S95B it just seems like there's more sun on the mountains and stuff like that? So is that accurate? Like, I don't know.
Again,
like,
you're seeing shades that are not right, but you are also getting some warmth from the sun, and you can't tell from that scene, or at least what I see through the camera, we can't tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
But based on the brightness you see in person, you might be able to, in your head, process, all right, some of this is actually from color volume, but some of it's not. That's more of like having an accurate image nearby gives you more of that ability to separate the two. Yeah. But
so
that's
here's
what
actually
tomorrow's stream is going to be about.
Here's a super chat, kind of on that sense, I guess. Bad Tech was saying, according to Vincent Teo, the perfect TV is easy, but a tiny $30,000 reference monitor. He loves flexing that. He has one. Let me say something funny on this real quick. Somebody actually commented on my video, get a reference monitor scrub. I'm like, I'm like, all right.
He's okay. Let me go ahead and buy one right now.
And even that won't be perfect for HDR.
I mean, I don't want to flex on Vincent, but I've probably seen more reference monitors than he has in the past 3 months. Not flexing, just telling. Even if you have that reference monitor as comparison, it's really like, it's nice that you have that nearby, but especially like the X300 and the HX310, they're discontinued, man. Like pretty soon that thing's not going to be relevant, but it's nice that you have one. It's cool that you can fully calibrate that to have 1,000 nit full field and then do comparisons, but you can calibrate like an LG OLED to track PQ as accurately as possible. And to me, that can be used as a reference for maybe not color volume, but luminance up to that certain point, because they're still getting luminance up to 700 nits.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really nice to be able to compare color. I agree with that.
That's something I was saying too. It's like, obviously I don't have a reference monitor at the moment, but if A, being my C1, fully calibrated, matches monitor B up to a certain point,
Yep.
and then I take C, the S95B, and compare to A, and it's similar, then shouldn't C be similar to B?
And in terms of talking about a perfect TV, if you know what the controls are like on those reference monitors, they have no auto detection. They have no metadata. They have no auto color gamut. You literally have to switch it manually into every single mode. You have to force it. If you don't force it, you end up with tickle me Elmo look on the screen. And do you realize like how fast those X300s burn in? Like you could not game on one of those suckers for very long. It would burn in. So you have to be very, very careful with them.
Yeah.
And I've seen posts and stuff and people who have bought them, calibrated them, and there's certainly reference level, but it doesn't mean they're like the best as far as chart ability compared to like even some LGs or Panasonics can get slightly lower delta errors in certain situations. And some people aren't even able to get the full 1,000 nits out of their reference.
About 925 was what I got.
900 something. So it's still not perfect.
I did a full color checker, just a standard color checker, and I think its average delta error was a 1.6. You still have very, very limited controls on those reference monitors.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And when I saw that tweet from I don't know who at Light Illusions does their tweeting, but when I saw that, I was wondering if maybe that's what they were talking about as far as the reference monitor image versus having a reference cube chart, whatever.
So that comment was from Steve Shaw, and I don't know why he made that comment. I know what he was stating. He was basically stating that if you want to confirm something is a reference, you need to do a volumetric verification, which means you need to do 1,000 points across all the different color luminance points and gamma, all this other stuff. Like, I love Steve. If you watch my last video with Sammy and Sunday, I actually did an apology for Steve, but he's just flexing the whole volumetric verification. It had nothing to do with the actual topic at hand. So cool. Like, it's nice that he brought up his software, but it had nothing to do with the point that Vincent was trying to make. Just saying.
Yeah, let me hit
Like,
these super chats.
You got a couple of super chats, yeah.
I one made me laugh, so sorry. My Gadgets World, thank you for the super chat. He says, cheers to that $30,000 reference monitor comment. Let's just get that and call it a night. Right?
keep those super chats coming, guys.
And then Salad Master, Salad Monster would be a pretty cool name, but Salad Master says, get a reference monitor, scrub $2 towards it. Thank you, Salad Master. Appreciate it.
So that's $43,000 in super chats, guys, and he'll get one. So let's start a counter.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and compare that from now on.
I'll just get a graphic on the screen, and then
Right.
if I get to that number ever, then I just have to buy one and get a calibrator's license and learn how to be a calibrator.
By the time you get there, that thing won't exist, man. Let's just face the
Yeah,
facts.
for sure. Yep, that's true.
Yeah, we got a couple
People are
other chats.
requesting some gaming.
Yeah,
Gaming?
gaming. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
You don't happen to have like Gears 5 installed, do you? Because that's how good HDR, good dark scenes.
Monster Hunter.
I do got Elden Ring. That's dark.
But
I think we've been seeing enough of Elden Ring.
yeah, Elden Ring.
No, you guys don't like Elden Ring. but
No,
the
I
chat
would never
loves
say that.
Elden
Did you just
Ring.
say I don't like Elden
No,
Ring?
not you. I was talking about
No,
Max and Classy.
No, I
know you
never
liked it.
said
No,
that.
I never said I
put
don't
that,
like it.
Don't
I
put
just
that
said
in my
it's
mouth.
not
I
my-
never said that. I said I
10
never
years
played
ago,
it.
I'd have played it.
Yeah.
What are you guys afraid to get a video made on you or something?
No,
You guys
I
are like,
just
I
don't
never
like
said
say
that.
I never said that. Like I said, I never played the game.
Something,
I do,
something,
like I
made
said-
in something.
Dude,
Yeah, I
stop
just-
asking for an easy mode, bro.
No, I never said that either. Don't put words in my mouth. I never said that. I said I just didn't have the time to play the game. That's all I just
I know, exactly. Like, pretty much going on 8 years now of Destiny. Destiny has taken all my gaming time.
It's the same for me. It's like I've been playing Destiny 2 for I don't know how many years, and same thing with Destiny. I don't know how long I've been playing that, and then on top of that, it's just I just haven't got around to playing the game and stuff. That's all. It's the same thing with Assassin's Creed. It's like I bought the Ultimate Edition. I probably played like maybe a couple hours.
Not in game mode.
Yeah.
Wait, what game are you looking at?
This is Assassin's Creed.
Oh, is this Valhalla?
Yeah, I had it on
Oh.
quick resume, so I just loaded it up.
Okay.
So yeah, I
think
mean,
easy mode.
Gears of War was my most played game and franchise through the 360 era, and I love Gears of War. I have not played Gears 5 campaign yet because I just don't have time to play a single player game or
Because of
play through a
Destiny,
campaign.
you scrub.
It's the
You know
same
what I
thing
like
for me.
about Assassin's Creed? It's got, well, at least the one I played, Odyssey, had good HDR sliders, so you can
Oh,
actually.
dude, the HDR is crazy in this game.
Yeah. I mean, you can actually set paper white, so you can actually set the mid-tone mapping point,
Mhm.
and you can set the max point, and it's fairly accurate. It works pretty well. I have not fed the kitties yet. You can feel free to feed them. Our cats will trick you. They'll be like, "Oh, we didn't eat anything. Feed us twice." So that's why she asked.
What do you guys want to see? What games do you want to see? I don't know. I don't know what I got. I gotta look, but I got Elden Ring.
No. You can start putting Elden Ring up once you get the platinum, KG.
No.
I'm at the point now where my girl's just asking, like, "Hey, can you drop this weapon for me or help me with this boss?" I'm like, "Fine." I will say I'm really happy about one thing if we're talking about gaming. I have played maybe about 5 minutes of Horizon Forbidden West because I can only play it in the quality mode because the performance mode looks like poop. I'm really hoping that this VRR update helps smooth out that quality mode and it's actually playable, because as of right now, it's like dangling around 30 FPS and it feels like Bloodborne, and I just don't like it.
Yeah, I had the same issue with the Assassin's Creed when it first came out. It was so terrible. I could not play it at all. So I put it away until they had an update, and they did update and fix a lot of those issues. But that's what VRR is like so important, especially when it comes to that screen tearing.
Your
Plants
camera's dying
versus-
right now.
Plants vs. Zombies,
My
KG,
camera's
Battle
dying?
for the Neighborhood.
I mean, what you're showing is like killing your camera's ability.
No, that's actually what it looks like.
Is that dark?
Yeah.
Wow. If you do Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for the Neighborhood, that game is very high APL and has pretty dang good HDR. I was actually pretty impressed by it. And it's a fun game.
So also, in the midst of everything, there's a couple people over on AVS that have a legitimate concern and issue in that Gran Turismo 7, for some reason, is causing a flicker on the S95B, and it's like, you feel bad for them, and I want to like try and address that and see if I can find it and then duplicate it, whatever. But with everything that went on and that thread going 50 posts a minute, like,
Yeah,
it's just every now and then, hey, can you help me over here?
Is
And it just all these other posts. So
contrast
there's
enhancer.
actual concerns that are being overlooked for drama.
I think it's
I felt the
contrast
same way
enhancer.
too.
I think it's contrast enhancer and high sharpness. Like when you combine those two, you do get like some flickering artifacts sometimes.
Yeah, so the video I saw was he's like going around a curb, the red brake lights come on, the hitting the bumps or whatever in the turn, and then you see the sky flickering, something like that. Like, I'm gonna try and see if I can duplicate it, whatever. Someone made a S95B gaming thread, so hopefully they can get some attention and whatnot. But just if that person happens to be watching, that's on my radar.
Okay.
Yeah, just like what I sent to you earlier, Classy. It's like I tried to put something in the forums about like the PS5 issue. I had like the black screen if I try to do game mode for whatever reason. I put it in the thread and everyone disregarded that like a couple weeks ago because everybody kept on talking about these reviews or hypothetical stuff. And I'm just like,
And it's the owner's thread. if you
It's
don't own
overspread.
it, and if you're not trying to own it, then go somewhere else with your comment.
And that's why I felt like I said no one is using the purpose of AVS forms of what they really supposed to be used for. If
Right.
you own the TV and you legitimately have an issue with it and you're trying to get answers for it, it's that's why I said everything is on fire when it comes to the forums because nobody don't care. But what I do want to say too is I think these type of streams are really good just in general, because a lot of people could get a lot of questions answered instead of making these 5-minute, 10-minute videos, 15-minute videos. Is because now you get to see hands-on, as in like, hey, let me see how the UI looks. And these are the reason why I think it's like quirky compared to other TV manufacturers. Or the same thing with the Game Hub. How does that look? Do you have any issues with it? These are kind of like open forums during the stream to kind of like answer those questions right then and there for people.
I'll say this: they look the same right now, like pretty much the same on this scene.
Oh, I
a little bit more purple on the S95B, but that's about it.
You got a super chat.
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah.
a couple.
That tech, I could barely like. I would make a post, and then as soon as I hit submit on the post, there's 2 more pages of comments to go through.
So I was trying to catch up on that thread today. I'm not an owner though. I was just there for the popcorn, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's.
I think
I
think his internet. That's a good scene right there.
All right, I'm gonna take this time to hit some super chats. Thank you, Master Singleton, for the super chat. He says Atomos Neon 55 production monitor is 17K on full compass. Dang.
Well, I mean, even go to B&H Photo and like look at their used section. You can find maybe not the BVMs, but like the PVM monitors and stuff and different things for 4,000 to 10,000 or whatever.
I think I'm lagging.
Yeah, you're lagging bad. You like froze and you were like cheesing.
I just stopped talking for a moment because I was like, what's going on?
Let me just finish these and then we'll get back to what you were saying. Yeah, thank you for the super chat there. Gaming Tech, thank you, Magician, for the HFW comment.
The Horizon for Forbidden West. He's been championing them to fix it because they keep making it worse.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So hopefully that VRR, you just play it in quality mode. You'll get 120 hertz input latency. Maybe they even do the 40 FPS fix. I played some Miles Morales today with the fidelity mode with the 40 frames per second. And people don't realize it's not just that it's running at a interval of 120. It's the fact that since the PS5 is outputting 120, your input lag gets cut in half too. So it feels better even. So it feels great. I really hope PS5 gives us more 120 hertz options for VRR and just fully unlocks everything, but we'll see.
I'll be right back.
All right. What game should I play?
Yeah, Forza is a good one.
I already said Plants vs. Zombies, but
I don't have that. I don't have that. I see. So one thing that is really great for gamers with the S95B is the clean panel. Like, if we're talking about DSC and vertical banding, things like that, the S95B is clean, man.
I was just about to say that too. But Vincent did mention that too. He did mention about especially when it comes to screen uniformity. It's the same thing for my S95B. I do not see any type of banding whatsoever, and I have the Sony A9F and I have the Sony A90J. And the A9F, I do see banding. The A90J, I don't see it too much. I'm not really trying to look for it because when I look for it, then that's where I just stare at it. But with this panel, I wanted to take a look at it just because people are curious about it. It's been really clean. No issues that I could see of. And I did some, test patterns with the gray pattern where it goes to when it started to brighten up. And I see no issues with it. So that's why I think it's a win for other people who are interested in the TV, because with LG and Sony, and depending on different regions when it comes to Panasonic and Philips, sometimes you have to do the panel lottery where you have to switch it out because sometimes are good and sometimes are bad. You just don't know what you may get.
Yeah.
I've seen really bad A90Js where I've had clients return the panel, like to the point where it looked like shutters of just banding up and down the screen. And pixel refresh, none of that solved it at all. It was literally just a defect.
The 55A80J that I had was a real bad banding. The
Probably
one that I
similar.
reviewed, yeah, it was bad.
But then again, who knows and stuff like that. Some people may get some bad panels from Samsung displays too. So I just know from getting the TV, I haven't seen any issues. So
We got a request here, so
oh,
I
that's
will.
it.
Huh? Oh
I was
no,
just gonna say.
he wants me to play Elden Ring. That's all I was saying. You keep
Oh,
talking.
okay.
I didn't mean
No,
to-
no, I was
didn't even
gonna
hear
say
you talking
so.
at first. My bad.
Oh, okay. No, I was just talking about how clean the panels are. So it could be just a small sample. So who knows? Some other people may have some issues, but so far, for me getting the TV at the first time and not seeing any issues with it, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And Classy seemed like he has a clean panel too, except for his TV is bent.
He just, yeah,
And-
and then he bent
yeah.
it some more. Like, well, he didn't bend it, but he showed that it's bendable. He's like, yeah, these things are flexible.
It's rollable.
Yeah.
He's just trying to
Anything's
use curve.
rollable if you are strong enough, you know?
Yeah.
He's
See,
trying to bring the curve back.
Right.
Here's my main character. Maybe I should turn the camera off just in case I'm in a spoiler area.
No one cares. Elden Ring's been out for too long. There's no such thing as spoilers anymore.
Yeah, but then like if
somebody
people
likes
care,
Elden Ring,
they're gonna
if
leave
some-
they're gonna
if
leave.
somebody no. If somebody likes Elden Ring, it's on their feed, and all they get all day long are thumbnails of all the endgame bosses, content, spoilers. So don't pretend like there's anything that you're gonna show that people haven't seen. Dude, I was
Well-
streaming like endgame bosses last night. Nobody left. Oh, you've just been farming. That's why you don't want people to see.
No, no. I was just here to look at the sky. That's all.
Like, I'm sorry, if the game's been out for over a month, at that point, you can just say, hey, there might be spoilers, and then just show shit.
Hit left trigger, KG.
Well, one thing,
is that?
this is totally different topic, but going back to the screen, by how
Mhm.
bent, you can bend the screen. If you look at the Sony A95K, if you look at the back of it, I don't think there is a huge bump. It could be because of the heatsink and then the actuators.
A90J's built like a champ, dude. I love that TV.
Check out Calid. Let me show you.
I'm getting a GX in the next couple weeks, a 77. And if you haven't seen the 77 GX, that thing's like 90 pounds or something. And that sucker is thick and it's even through the whole panel. So I'm ordering the gallery feet, even though people think they're ugly, because it'll come with the backplate covers. It's going to be on a media console, and it literally is going to fit the media console perfect. It's going to be like just a big 77-inch square. It's going to look amazing. And I will be doing a video about that. It's going to be great.
I don't know if you guys see the red on Calid right here, but
Oh, I love that red. It looks really good on my LG, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
This chat's a little hard to keep up with. I don't know what's going on, but anyone that's
Poppin'.
kind of fighting and stuff, can we just chill out, say sorry, everybody, and just get back to talking?
Yeah,
Like
just
adults
have
here.
fun. Yeah. We
Yeah,
all
please
just
don't.
trying
Please
to have
don't,
fun.
please don't argue. Take that to AVS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to
No.
argue, we'll put links
No.
to ABS, and you guys can
Yeah,
take
don't do that.
that same gamer energy over to ABS.
Look, we get that everyone's passionate about their TV, saying this is better than what. It all comes down to what are you looking for, what is your use case scenario, and that's where you go ahead and make your informed decision of what you think is good for you.
I mean, Classy says this all the time. There's no such thing as a perfect TV. All you can do is optimize your TV to the fullest of extent. And I think Classy puts out so much information on how to get the most out of these TVs. I try to do the same. And it's like, just enjoy what you get, man. People have different budgets, different sizes they want, different use cases. Literally, all we want to do is get the TV looking as good as possible as calibrators.
And
That's
just
what we're
on
doing.
a personal level, like, don't assume that people, especially through text and text chat, is trying to be a troll or negative or whatever. Just give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're not great at communicating through text. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe something's going on. Maybe they're distracted. Whatever. Just, I don't know. It just, there's a lot of negativity going on that I think, again, like we were saying earlier, then real problems don't get discussed or issues don't get solved.
I think way back in the chat, someone mentioned that like you can't trust Vincent because he's sponsored.
Yeah, that's
Hold on.
dumb. I don't
Hold on.
like. I don't know about that train of thought
Yeah.
because sponsors are gonna come and go, especially in this platform. And I think Vincent does show objectiveness a lot to
Exactly.
different brands, and
Yeah.
I think he does have integrity. So I don't really subscribe to that. That's like saying when I did my LG display sponsor, like all of a sudden I'm just shilling for LG. You guys know I don't shill for LG.
Guys,
Come on.
I'm gonna put it this way.
You want to hear a good one? Matt, did you
Go ahead.
see the person on AVS say, why should he trust D-Nice because he's calibrating for Value Electronics and trying to sell
I
TVs?
saw that. I saw that.
What?
That first- yeah.
D-Nice had the greatest response. Yeah.
I bet he
saw
did.
that. He did.
Guys,
Uh,
It's literally
Yeah.
like watching Walking Dead on cable TV and then saying, I can't like this show because of the commercials that are coming on.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
look,
that
people need to make money. If you have a big audience on YouTube, get the money, right? If these manufacturers and companies trust you to review their product and get that review out in terms of hundreds of thousands of people, that's why they get the sponsors, and that's why they'll say, hey, this video was sponsored. This video is sponsored by this person. I think what ends up happening is a lot of people will be sponsored by like Box UK, or they're sponsored by a VPN company, and then they think that the whole product review is sponsored by that company. And those
Yeah.
people are idiots. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Did I get my GX yet? No, not yet.
It's
It's going to
unfortunate.
be
So
a couple weeks.
if you want to make a living on YouTube, it's not going to be through YouTube revenue all the way. It's just
Yep.
not. So
Yeah.
like sponsors are really important.
And-
No.
If you want to
And-
go full time on YouTube, which I think that's the goal for a lot of us, then affiliate links are important. Stuff
Yeah,
like
I saw
that's
a
important.
comment against KG on AVS saying that, oh, he's got an affiliate link to the S95B, so he's just trying to sell it.
Yeah,
And it's
and
like, you
every
got
other
affiliate
TV
links to
talks
everything.
about it.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
care
Right.
what people buy, just click your link and you're happy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you can't spew that type of those type
Anybody
of
that
comments,
says
so.
you can't trust someone that's sponsored is just a hater. They just need some more of that
Yeah.
haterade, because it's just jealousy. The moment these ticklers get like free product from these third-rate companies, then it's the best product ever. I'm like, oh, interesting, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they open their mouths and lose that sponsorship, and then they're like, they don't talk about it anymore. Funny. It's funny how that works.
And then people thinking small channels are getting paid from
Right.
big corporations. Like, yeah, Samsung
Yeah.
or LG or Sony is going to pay some small
Yeah.
fry on YouTube
Yep.
and risk their
That's me.
reputation and break the law. Yeah,
Yep.
that's really going to happen.
And that's why I'm pointing to myself. So
I see someone talking about Linus. So again, I've said it a million times. Linus is a flipping genius. Like, he isn't comes
Oh, yeah,
to business, the wide range of knowledge he has. No slight to Linus at all, but they don't have the best people there when it comes to AV, and they're hiring. So hopefully they do get some people there that are on a higher level for it. But
Yeah, like, and he's got multiple YouTube channels, multiple streams of revenue, merch, all this stuff. And like, guys, it's capitalism. Like, get your money. You know what I mean? Like that's what all this is about, guys. Like, we're passionate about this stuff, but like, I work as a calibrator so you can pay me money because I do a very, very good job. I'm not sitting here trying to rip people off and trick them. You know what I mean? I'm literally performing a service that people will pay me money for, and then people are happy. It's the way society works, man. Like, if you're a farmer and you make really good turnips and you sell those to other villages, they pay you more money to that specific farmer. Like, this has gone back millions of years, guys. It's trade. Like, the world would not exist unless this type of market existed. Like, please don't put yourself on a pillar because you're so toxic that companies won't sponsor you.
Yeah, and you know, I remember like 2007 when I was like really getting started with PC stuff and watching Linus in the back room at NCIX doing videos for them, and watched him throughout the years the whole way. Like, that literally is like rags to riches story right there.
And it's been over a long period of time, meaning he's put his work in. Yeah, if LG wanted to start sending me free product to review, I would 100% be like, yep, I'm straight up. I'm selling this for LG, and here's all the measurements, and here's everything. And people would call me a shill all day, and I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I am about to drop off.
All right.
Yeah, same here.
Go work in the morning.
No
Still
problem.
got my daytime job. But I think that was a good stream. I think just the point is that a lot of the stuff got taken out of context and stuff. So
Yeah, it kind of rained on our parade, on our S95 parade. Come on.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I will say too.
Let us have fun.
You gotta
enjoy.
you gotta enjoy it. I mean, whoever bought the TVs, and like, I'm not knocking anything from LG or Sony. I think the message is that, you know, just get your views and opinions from other people, other creators, written reviews, forums, when everything gets back to normal, whenever that is. And then that's where you form your own opinion, if you think this TV is for you. And then also take a look at it in person. That's kind of like one thing I want to stress more than anything in the world, because you can't judge everything by looking at YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's all I just want to say. But I hope everyone have a good night, and take care.
Later, Max.
Hey, bud.
See ya.
All
Thanks
right,
for
have a
joining.
good one. Take care. Bye.
You guys super chat.
All right. Thank you, Woden's Throne. Got my first OLED yesterday, LGC 148-inch. Any tips?
Enjoy it.
Yeah,
Make sure
definitely
you,
enjoy it.
on those panels, look up how to turn off energy saving mode, because it's buried deep on the C1s. I love on the CX, it's literally right below there. You go energy saving off. On these, it's like support, OLED care, TV, energy saving. Then you turn it off. Like, it's buried. So definitely look up how to turn off energy saving mode, and put everything you can into warm 50, and then just play with the OLED light, backlight, and see what brightness you like, and then take it from there.
Yeah, and I have a G1C1 settings video, applies to both, and it hasn't been outdated or anything. It's just making sure you're in the right picture mode with the right color temp and stuff like that.
Yep.
Thank you for that super chat. I'm just running around this guy, just trying to show the colors. This area is so beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite areas. Dude, I'm stoked for that VRR implementation, because I'm definitely gonna make some videos on it.
I was about to say, you give a platinums before it, you should get like a double platinum trophy.
Oh no. What's really great is, like, Nikki has been putting up clips. Like, anytime she beats a boss, she'll clip it on PlayStation, and then we'll upload to YouTube. I think I'm just going to become an Elden Ring channel at this point, because I'll get like 4,000, 5,000 views on her videos. And like, I'll do a long, comprehensive, like, calibration video. It gets like 200 views. You know, it's like, huh.
Yeah.
So
you totally should.
Yeah, I planned to have my next video out on Sunday and then lost my voice. So as soon
Oh,
as I'm better and I don't sound like crap.
yeah, you don't want to lose your voice. Sound like somebody else. Just joking. Oh man, maybe too soon or too late.
Hope springs eternal, KG. Hope springs eternal. No, I'm excited for the prospective future for all this stuff. Gonna get our VRR, gonna get our larger OLED, gonna calibrate the crap out of it. It's gonna be good times. And
Nice.
then Sammy is getting the S95B tomorrow, so he's gonna run some tests on it.
Oh,
I really want to get D-Nice's input because I know he's been calibrating the S95Bs, and I'm curious as to what his end results are, if they're similar to Classy or if he's found another method to get them even more buttoned up. So we just don't know yet because we haven't really communicated with him too much.
Yeah, movie mode has 20-point controls, but it pushes so hard on the EOTF, I haven't bothered to try that yet. I mean, it potentially, I don't know. I don't want to say one way or the other. It's just I typically always start with the more accurate mode out of the box and go from there. But when you're getting cut off on the controls, who knows? Maybe movie mode might work better because you can adjust 20 points. So things to try.
Tim was asking me about the S95B plus calibration over the Sony. I would say this. So a calibration from Value Electronics can be like $650, like 700 with game mode, right? You're almost at $1,000 there with the Sony. And to my knowledge, this is just me, I would rather get the Sony if you're going to pay for calibration. If you're more concerned about like gaming and you like that punch and pop, get the S95B. If you're more concerned about that reference, you're going to get out of the box probably closer on the Sony versus getting the Samsung calibrated. And that's something I can promise you.
yeah, I would get the S95B if you're in that camp because like I'm looking at it right now, and even next to the Q90B, I'm like, pff, I'd rather have the S95B all day. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the VRR, it's a FreeSync Premium, which I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it can use the frame rate compensation to go as low as 20.
Nice. You know, one thing, and I don't want to get too off topic, but the PS5 VRR, as far as I know, I think they've only stated it's for PS5 games. I don't think they've stated it'll work with PlayStation 4 games. So that's one thing that I want to test. If that's the case, then Bloodborne will never, ever run properly.
We'll find out soon from Digital Foundry.
Well, we're going to find, like, the moment that launches, I'm testing it.
You see how this doesn't trigger ABL? On the LG OLED, it does when I cast that spell. That's like one of the examples that I used when I was comparing the Q90B to it.
Yeah.
So it does definitely push it a little bit past where we were before, but
That's pretty awesome.
it's minimal, but to me it's not because it's something small that I've always noticed.
Yeah. Othman, there's going to be it's almost going to be like boost mode on PS4 Pro where you can choose to have VRR on always. And it's basically going to have to detect and kind of force VRR. So I think the biggest difference, and I think I mentioned this with Classy earlier, is that the games that have been patched so far, because a lot of my games did get an update, I think what they're doing is they're allowing the frame rates to be unlocked within a certain range. So take Ratchet and Clank today. The menu now says 40 frames per second in fidelity mode, and with 120 on, the frame rate can go even higher depending on the scene. I think the games that don't support VRR currently are going to have their frame rates locked to like 30 or 60, when potentially they could have performance outside of that. And the patches for these games is just going to unlock the frame rate when VRR is enabled. I think that's what you're going to see. So I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
E-Rock, it's literally like any day now this week.
Oh, Matt, I got an idea. You should do a playthrough with no mount, just walking around like this.
I could do it.
That'd be fun, actually. You would see some areas and be like, oh, I'd actually maybe like mounted past that.
I fight all of the dragons without the horse. Like I do better without it.
Huh? Yeah, me too.
Martin says I don't think that's right. Yeah, I'm not talking about the screenshot. I was talking about the press release that they put out. I could be wrong. I mean, right today, wrong tomorrow. I'll look it up. Oh, I have it right here.
Oh,
John Linneman's Twitter. Thank you so much for being on my homepage. Game Plan Mini PS5 titles feel smoother, blah, blah, blah. Previously released PS5 games can be fully optimized for VRR through a game patch, and future games may include VRR. In the coming weeks, the PS5 versions of these titles will receive game patches. Blah, 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 blah.
that's so weird. Game-based VRR. It's like...
As an added option, you can also choose to apply VRR to PS5 games that don't support it.
Okay.
So through this entire thing, they don't say PS4 or anything like that. So I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm just saying they didn't put a little, front slash that said PS5/PS4. So until it comes out, I can't confirm or deny.
Yeah, and I want to shout out My Life in Gaming. If anyone here hasn't watched them or doesn't know about them, they really focus on classic games. But they went ahead and reviewed the C2, and it's like an hour-long video. But they showed so many things with the C2 as far as black frame insertion, input lag, different resolutions, different scaling options, like all kinds of stuff that no other like normal TV reviewer does. He even said he hated doing it all. He's not going to do it again. But it's interesting. You should go watch that video, and it shows where LG has regressed with the C2 as far as some gaming support, and even the C1 versus the C10. Yeah. And even though it mostly focuses on emulation and older classic stuff, there's also some things that do affect like SDR games on a PS5 or whatever. So, if you're really into gaming, you should definitely watch their video.
Hence the 77GX for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you play so much Switch and stuff like that. Like, it's those 2020 models are probably the best one for those kind of games.
Yeah. I was playing Metroid Dread, which is a really good game. And then I went back and I started playing Monster Boy, and I played that on stream last night. And I did a fresh start, like a fresh playthrough. Monster Boy, Metroid, dude. Monster Boy is a way better game. I'm saying it right now. Monster Boy Cursed Kingdom on the Switch is better game than Metroid, and I think it's way cheaper too. Like that Nintendo tax is like ridiculous.
Yeah. And if you're considering a G1 instead of a C2, Villaman just put out a video comparing them. You'll be surprised to the point that it's possible the G series has additional processing features, even though they're the same processor.
Yep.
Because the G1, G2, at least when it comes to tone mapping and different things, there appears to be some differences going on. So, going with a G1 might be worth it for some people over C2.
Yeah, dude, QN90B is doing really good in this little cave area right here, surprisingly. Because it's almost matching it, like in terms of contrast. I mean, there's a little bit more, of course, on the S95B, but it's close.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I saw a QN90A out of the box at Best Buy, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And then after it was calibrated, I was like, oh. But I mean, out of the box, like it looked amazing in its store mode. Like it was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, again, the QN90B was a really notable upgrade over the QN90A.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a lot of that thunder this year is getting stolen by QD-OLED.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting quite hungry.
Yeah, same.
I still haven't eaten yet. Thanks for having me on the stream, KG.
Yeah,
Again,
thanks for stopping by.
Well, I wanted to represent,
You wanted to give Vincent Tio representation.
I wanted to give him somewhat of a voice.
I mean,
so like that
we didn't disrespect him or anything,
Nah.
Yeah.
But I mean, open communication's always good.
yeah.
But I do understand the point he was making with that video. I just again think that it was a bit weird that like I almost never see him take other YouTubers' footage. He always uses his own.
Right.
So that was very weird. But it's good to see that both you and Keep It Classy Tech are at that same level where an expert like Vincent Teo does reference your content for his videos. So, anyways, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I'll see you around.
That's it.
Thanks.
And then you got a super chat.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. Bye. Thank you, Kenji. S, he says, funny enough, Villain Man's video was the other reason why I considered it. I was actually wondering if the G series had better panel bending over the C series, as it's a premium series.
When it comes to the pink tint, if that's what you're talking about, no. Because, I mean, if you saw the shootout, the G1 that was there was like the worst pink tint I've seen on any of them. The 65-inch G1 that I reviewed last year had some pretty bad pink tint. That's just panel lottery and luck of the draw. But there does seem to be some reasons to go for a G1 over a C2. The question remains, though, is the kinks with the C2, can they be worked out in firmware?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you think the S95B hangs in high APL games with the QN90B?
Oh, let's find out. What's a high APL game?
Forza?
Yeah, Forza. Okay, we'll go back to that. It's I think on Forza there's moments where the QN90B highlights are better. It really depends. Like when it's a super bright area, you can notice the QN90B being better. But scenes like this scene let me raise the exposure up. I mean, it's even right now. The sky is brighter for sure on the QN90B, but the rest of the scene feels really even. I will say roughly 10% more brightness. Which, like, if you had this next to LG OLED, like it would be a bigger difference.
So in other words, yeah, it hangs, but the QN90B doesn't hang in the dark scenes as much.
Yeah, but it does okay, like we just saw.
Yeah.
But you're right, and that's why I like the S95B is because it takes stuff from both, and does it really good. So it's like the best of both worlds. See, that's the thing. Like, and also you really have to factor in DSE because your panel's gonna have DSE. It's gonna have it. Like, you're gonna have it some
QN90B.
way. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. On the QN90B, you're going to have some sort of DSE. This goes for any LCD panel, so you have to factor that in. So like when I'm panning right here, like when I'm turning, I could see there's DSE at the top
I
of
can
the
see it
sky.
through the camera.
Yeah, so that's something you want to be aware of as well. But if you play nothing but bright games, I think the QN90B is fantastic. That's the thing though. Like I'm pretty sure you don't just play nothing but bright games. That's why I've always had to choose almost. I was like recommended people like would find out what they play more of, but now it's like the S95B ticks all the boxes and it has better contrast than both the TVs. Like it just feels like it has more contrast. I don't know if it's like artificial or not, but I don't care. I just like it a lot when it comes to that. So like when you put your classy hat on, you know, you definitely see what I'm seeing when it comes to the game mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's considering the features for gaming, the 4 HDMI 2.1 ports at 48 gigabits per second, the ultra wide support, just it literally offers everything. The input lag is tied with LG for best, basically. It's I don't know any other way that it's not the best gaming TV right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I could do is I could try SDR gaming because that's probably going to go to the QN90B, right? We'll see.
If you're pushing the brightness really high, then it'll probably wash out.
The QN90B.
Yeah.
All right. We'll find out. I'll load up Fortnite. Yeah, SDR on the QN90B looks really good. I'll say that. And like you mentioned, on the HDR at times the games can feel like the colors a little bit washed out.
Oh wait a minute, you're going through a splitter, so you're stuck at 60, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go to 120 and have VRR and stuff, you do get that reduced local dimming performance on the QN90B.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. When you go to 120 with VRR, that's when you get the local dimming reduction?
I think it's just 120 in general, even without VRR, but it's not as effective, but it's still there. It still works, unlike Sony, which when you have VRR, just disables the local dimming.
Right.
But again, like there would be more of a difference if both of these were at 4K 120 HDR.
Yeah. I just want to point out, like on this screen that I was just at, if you were doing the LG OLED versus the QN90B there, it would be like super dim in comparison because it can't get that bright on SDR. And right now it looks very similar. Very similar.
Is your logo dimming off on the S95B?
I think it's on low. You want me to turn it off?
I mean, it should, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't notice it, like, but let me turn it off then. It's under support. Device care? No.
No, go to general and then go below power and energy.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
below
Below,
power and
below,
energy.
below. Panel
Okay,
care.
Panel care, yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm assuming peak brightness high and everything turned up.
Yep. Yeah, no, the QN90B looks good, man, for SDR. Like, if it was just me for SDR, like if I was playing nothing but Fortnite, I'd probably get like the QN90B or the QN85B. Just like if that was my only game that I played. But I don't just play that game, so. But the S95B is holding its own, so that's not something I could ever say for any other OLED. Sony did okay, though.
Said that Victor's Reality had to lower the brightness on the QN90B to 35 to make it a comparison to the S95B in SDR. So, I don't know, like
You
on
mean
camera,
to film or something?
to make the brightness in SDR match. So, like on camera right now, like the QN90B is looking a bit brighter.
Oh, it is brighter, but like that's what people want to see. They want to see it at full brightness. But if I want to match it, yeah, sure, I could do that. But I thought that's what people wanted to see was that full
I
brightness.
don't know. That's just what someone said.
Oh, okay. Oh no, it is at 35.
Oh, your contrast at 50 though. Drop that to 40.
Yeah, yeah.
50 contrast.
I think it's because I was at the on the other thing, on the other HDMI port. When you switch ports, it's all messed up. Actually, you know what? This is all probably messed up on SDR. I'm probably in like cool and stuff. No,
Nikon.
warm.
Yeah, warranty.
No, that's a match.
And native.
No,
yeah,
native.
drop
That's
that.
why. That's why it's like.
Yeah, I was gonna say that health bar looked too green.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense. Okay. Now we're even. Now it looks exactly the same. One for one, the same.
It looks a little brighter, but overall,
not on my end. I think the
If I focus on
S95B
the
is,
health bar, like the green
yeah,
of the health bar looks brighter.
that's brighter. That part's brighter, but the rest of the image isn't.
And the map looks brighter.
The sky is slightly brighter, like the white in the sky. But I think if you were playing the S95B by itself and somebody told you, "Oh, my battery is like," oh, guys.
All right.
Well,
Yeah, and like we said before, the S95B does not get like huge differences when you start cranking up contrast enhancer and different modes, whatever, that some people are like compare with all
yeah.
that stuff turned on. So
You know what? Stream is not over just yet. I have some things I gotta say. So there is that thread about the flickering. I noticed that on other Samsung TVs, when you have contrast enhancer on high and your sharpness is up, you'll get like flickering artifacts and the sky will flicker. And I even noticed sometimes when you go to movie mode in game, like while you're in a game, the sky will flicker as well. So I don't know if that's like a Samsung thing or if this is totally unrelated, but I thought I would just mention that to anybody that's dealing with that problem. And then SD with the super chat. Thank you. He says, do you recommend those SMTPE THX calculators for panel size, viewing distance? I don't know. Some of them feel a little bit dated, but I don't. Did they update that since 4K and stuff? I imagine they did.
all right, the problem when it comes to that stuff is some are based on viewing angle purely. Some are based on resolution of when and where you'll start to see pixels. The easy way that I tend to do it is basically like 10 inches for every foot away. So if you're 7.5 feet, then you probably want a 75 or 77. But you could make do with a smaller, like a one step down size, 65, or you could even go up to an 83, 85, and it wouldn't be too big. But I would say for most people, at 7.5 feet, you want like a 75. At 8.5 feet, you want an 85. At 6.5 feet, you want a 65. That's to get like maximum effect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
And then
it turns out for me, sorry,
Yeah, go for
I
it.
previously measured like from my seating position on the couch to the screen, but I forgot. Wait a minute, 99% of the time I recline and lay back, and then so I had to remeasure, and it turns out I'm actually like 9.5, almost 10 feet from the screen. And the 65, like, yeah, I wish it was bigger, but it's not terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I share a lot of the similar thoughts. I think it also depends on like how do you want to view your panel, because some people like to be inside of their panel, like when they don't see the bezels, and then some people like when they see the bezels they're like, all right, well I'm too far. So I don't know. It really just depends on the person too. I couldn't go too much off of that.
Yeah, for me, it's I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah, well that's
And I want it where what I see in my field of vision, like the edges of the screen just reach that point where the peripheral vision like has that really big drop off, so
Yeah.
that way you don't have to turn your head really.
Yeah, good point. And then Samuel, thank you for the super chat. He says, finally found a HDMI 2.1 switch with a remote. Really? Nice. You might want to link that to me on Twitter. Because I didn't know those existed. Thank you for the super chat. And then you said you're getting ready to get out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat and then I gotta go back to work.
Oh, okay. Dang. When somebody was like, do you guys sleep? Oh, where was that comment? I don't sleep that much. I'll be honest with you. I try to get sleep like around 2 or 3 a.m. and then I wake up at like 7 or 8. Sometimes I sleep till like 2. Really just depends. Any more questions that you want to hit or anything else you want to address? Thank you to everybody. What's up?
that one. I think it's just there's a processing difference. How much that matters, we'll have to see. But I think it's probably going to have maybe a few more zones, so they go with a better processor to help make them transition as quickly. Um, I don't foresee a huge difference. It's mostly going to be the way it looks when it's turned off and like from the side, and then having the 4 speakers on the back and the one connect box, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I do know that the same processor is in the S95B, and I'm liking what I see out of it in terms of what it's doing with image processing. But I can't really say that I hate the QN90B either because I like what it's doing too. I just think Samsung has really good processing, and I think that's probably not talked about enough. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a huge jump. We don't know exactly the dimming zones because the QN95B in Europe has the same dimming zones as the QN90B here. So
No, see, yeah, then I don't think visually there's going to be a whole lot of difference. I think it's going to be aesthetics, sound, connections,
yeah,
that kind of thing.
features of 144 hertz thing, maybe.
Yeah, 144 hertz supposedly.
Who knows? Let's see.
That's still crazy that last year they gimped the smaller sizes. This year they make the 43 and the 50 the only ones with 144 hertz.
Yeah, seriously. To answer this question, S95B because it doesn't really have weaknesses in gaming.
Aside from not being accurate, but
Well, yeah, like if you're a gamer, I think like if you're a gamer, you probably don't care about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you like when you're playing a game, do you care about accuracy that much as like when you're watching a movie or?
calibrator hat on. The movies are still more important for accuracy, but as a gamer, like I said, I mean, Sony's going to be more accurate, but once it starts dimming, then it's lost all accurate advantage. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Richard Wagner says not ready to give up A80J KG for the S95B. If they were the same size, I'd totally move them. But one's a 77-inch A80J, and then the other one's 65-inch, and I need something in my bedroom to replace the Q90T, which I'm gonna just give to my parents. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I probably would replace it though, if for like my main thing and just move the A80J in my bedroom if it was 65 inches. But I'm not gonna get rid of the A80J or anything.
yeah, so I was just at the mall and at the pet store for my kids to play with the animals and saw this, so I had to share it because of the comment.
Nice. I have a corgi, and I'll share that right now. Hold on. Let me find a picture of this corgi. Feel free to read chat, so it's not like.
Yep. Can't wait to see if they improve the A80K very much. Yeah, I mean, that's a wild card. You know, like, for all intents and purposes, we don't expect much difference if it's compared to a WBE A80J. But we could be surprised. They could be doing something. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Where's my dog at? I take a lot of pictures of her, but I can't find her. All right, here we go. Here's one. And then I'll also include a picture of this other dog that we just got. Well, I didn't get it.
Yeah,
My
there
brother
was
brings it
another
over sometimes.
longer-haired corgi in that thing with that puppy, and the other one just wouldn't leave that one alone and constantly like biting at its face and stuff.
I'm gonna send it to you, and then you can share it because I don't know how else I would share it. So there's that one. This isn't the corgi. This is my brother's dog. He just got. He brings it over. The dog is scared of me though. It just growls at me all the time. It's like 4 months old probably. And then let me find it. Yeah, it's a Shiba Inu. And then here is this is my Corgi Shepherd. So it's a Corgi and a German Shepherd mixed. That's this one right here. Yep, that's my dog. It's a Corgi German Shepherd. So
Yep.
it's a unique dog. I've never seen a dog like that dog. Yep. Cool. Well, I just want to say, if we missed any questions, I apologize. Please leave a comment with your question if I missed it, and hit the like button on this stream before you leave. It also really helps out with the recommendations and stuff. So thank you guys for all being here. You're amazing. And then we're gonna, what's their names? Okay, so my dog's name is Ellie, and then the other sheep is called Brody. I think that's what they named him. Yep. All right. And you got anything to promote or say before you go? I missed a super chat. When did I do that? Let me look. Let me look. I have them all right here, so let me look. Oh, was it at the beginning of the stream? I just missed it. I must have. Did I? Was it at the beginning of the stream? I highlighted it, and I think I said thanks, but I thought maybe it didn't. Sorry if I didn't. I see you said we got your back, KG, like at the beginning of the stream. I can't find it. It's way up there.
He said he had the first super chat.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry, Hamza. That's like way up there. I think I found it. I found it. I had to really scroll up. My bad. There it is. Wait. You got anything to promote while I'm looking for this?
Not really at the current time, because I don't want to say I'm gonna have a video tomorrow, the next day or whatever, and then take longer to get feeling better. So I'm gonna try to stream tomorrow, and see how that goes. When is the next past the remote stream? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ask FOMO and Brandon on Twitter, and see when they're getting together for one. Not sure.
All right. Well, Hamza, thank you for the super chat. We got your back, KG. I know you guys do, and I appreciate that. I had a lot of people respond in my favor, and I really, really do appreciate that. So thank you. And again, we weren't trying to spark any extra controversy with this. We're just trying to clear the air and say, like, what's really going on? Because Classy never said it was 100% accurate. And
I never said it was accurate at all.
Right. Yeah, he never said it was accurate at all. So, like
the test was how close could it get?
Yeah. And so you're just like, if you want to make it a little bit better, use this. Like, nothing wrong with that. So, cool. I still like the S95B. I still think it's really awesome. And I am not done with the QN90B, and I'm going to do a proper video for you guys. So make sure you go check out Mike at My Gadgets World. He did a really cool side-by-side. Max has some really cool content as well. Go check him out. Victor's Reality always has cool content as well. And gaming tech, awesome channel. There's so many cool channels, guys. So just like check them all out. Like, this is all a big community, and we get along with each other, man. It's fun. It's fun. So check out their channel. Of course, go subscribe to Keep It Classy Tech if you're not already, and subscribe to me if you're not already as well. So thank you guys so much for being here. Hit the like button on the way out. leave a comment. That helps. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. See y'all soon.